Hi, I'm Adrian Vanderhelm of Swimming and Diving, and you're watching Clan TV, home of Canada's NCAA team.
My name is Lauren Swistak of Swimming and Diving. You're watching Clan TV, home of Canada's NCAA team.
It's physical, it is demanding, it is repetitive, and it is relentless. And it's something that is not easy to work through. It's very difficult to prepare for what you will meet. The expectation is that they will meet the challenge and rise as those challenges come up. We are looking for these freshmen, these young swimmers and student athletes that are coming in out of high school to reach levels that they're not even aware that they're capable of. NCAA is the premier collegiate sport league on earth. The American system is extremely competitive, and coming in as a Canadian university, in a lot of ways we're viewed as outsiders. And for us, we have to come down and absolutely be on our game. We have to be very focused. We have to be very prepared and willing to concentrate, do what it takes to meet that challenge of competition.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on Clan TV for SFU's swimming dual meet against the University of Victoria Vikes. My name's Alexandria Schofield.
And I'm Claudia Metzier. We're very excited to be coming to you live from the SFU pool. Throughout the show, we'll not only bring you every race, but we'll also have the chance to interview some of the swimmers and hopefully the head coach, Liam Donnelly, for some more info about the swimming and diving program here at SFU.
Yeah, so the varsity team raced yesterday in Tacoma at UPS, and they had a really good showing coming off a really tough training camp in Hawaii. UPS is actually, instead of yards, is a meters pool, so it was nice to swim in a familiar distance for them. There was some notable swims from Tim Winowski, his 800 freestyle, which he won. Colton Peterson, a rookie from Chilliwack, BC, won the 200-meter IM in a 2:08, and Lauren Swistak, a junior from Port Moody, BC, also won the 200 IM, which was an off event for her. She doesn't normally swim it, but she did a really good job there. Karen Castillo also did an awesome job of the 800 free and the 400 free, winning both events.
Yeah, a lot of them swam off events yesterday, which gives them a good opportunity to swim other distances and other races that they won't normally swim. So it was really good for them. But I think today they're going to be doing some of their best swimming.
Yeah, the UVic Vikes have some awesome swimmers who are qualified for the CIS championships, and even some who are qualified for Olympic trials coming up this April for Canada. It's really important in a dual meet like this for swimmers to actually win the event, not necessarily have an awesome time or a really fast swim, but the point system is really important. So in an individual event, the first place, the winning swimmer, will get 9 points, whereas second place drops down to 4 points. It is a huge drop, and so winning can be super important.
Yeah, but definitely you want to try and get second or third, and even in a bigger meet, you want to try and get 8th instead of 9th and just get into that final heat.
Exactly. It's really important to practice fast swimming and fast racing in a meet like this, because when you go to the NCAA championships, if you don't have an awesome morning swim, you're not going to make finals, and that's where you can score points.
Definitely.
It's also really important for these swimmers to not just win, but come in second, third, fourth, because that's where they also score other points. And if you look at last year's results against UVic, although the women's team especially won 9 out of 14 events, the rest of the placings would be UVic was right there, second, third, and fourth, and that's where they racked up a lot of points and gave the SFU women a run for their money.
Yeah, so today is definitely going to be a good day of racing because we have some good competition in the pool.
Yes, exactly. And the Vikes have some awesome swimmers. The swimmers you'll want to watch out for at this meet are Sarah Galbraith, a breaststroker and a freestyler. I believe she's qualified for Olympic trials and definitely qualified for the CIS championships. You also want to watch out for John McKay and Caitlin Gervais. Also Victoria Mock. Those are some really awesome distance swimmers and 200 flyer. Sorry. Okay. They also had a swimmer named Brett Zoltan who swam at the College Cup back in November or December, and he made the A final in the 400 meter IM, and that's swimming at some really tough competitors like UBC and University of Calgary, which are both national training centers in Canada.
Yeah. So right now is actually just a swim meet against UVic and not an NCAA school. So for NCAAs, how do you make it, Alex? Because you've been to NCAAs.
Yeah, I've been to a couple NCAA championships, and it's important. You either want to get the A qualifying standard, which sends you right into the meet. You automatically get to go if you swim a certain time, the A qualifying time. However, on the women's side, they'll take up to 18 swimmers in an individual race, and in relays, they'll take up to 12 relays. So that's where you can really build a team, is bringing in a bunch of relays, because you might have one swimmer who is actually already qualified, but you get to bring in 3 other swimmers who can swim events that they didn't technically qualify in.
Yeah.
But, people step up to the plate at NCAAs. It's a fast meet. It's lots of fun, and it's really competitive.
Yeah. So right now, Adrienne is our only swimmer with an A cut right now, right?
Exactly. Adrienne Vanderhelm is the only swimmer currently holding an A cut, but it looks like Mackenzie Hamill from Oakville, Ontario, a rookie, will most likely qualify in the 1650 free. And we have some other swimmers, including Lauren Swistak, who will most likely qualify in the 200 fly and maybe the 100 fly.
Yeah. I think it'll be some really good racing, and also a big team going to NCAAs this year. Last year we had 9 swimmers.
Yep. Yeah, last year 9 swimmers were going and only 1 male, so we had 8 women. Oh, it looks like we're about to start here. We're getting underway with the meet. The first event up is the women's 400 medley relay.
So in lane 3 and 5, we have our SFU's team.
Leading off on the backstroke in lane 3 is Maren Kokoska from Qualicum Beach on the island. And in lane 5 is Brooke Ansel, a local girl from Port Coquitlam.
So in this race, every swimmer swims 100 meters, and IMSO will go back, breast, fly free, 100 meters of each stroke.
Exactly. So it's a little bit harder in an event like the 400 medley relay to get super excited. You don't want to go out. I mean, in a 100, it is a sprint. It definitely is a sprint. But if you go out too fast and you die, it is still a real race, and you risk the other person catching you. So first off that wall is Maren Kokoska splitting a 31.81.
That's pretty good for her.
That's an awesome in-season split.
Yeah.
And Brooke Ansel splits a 33.65, while the UVic bike lead-off splits a 33.74.
Yeah. And they're definitely, most of the team are battling a little bit of a sickness right now.
Yeah.
Just coming back from training camp in Hawaii, where they swam basically doubles for 7 days.
Yeah.
So it was some intense training, so this is really good coming off of that racing against UVic.
Yeah, Maren Kokoska pulls away, and coming in for the second leg of the race is Megan Franks, our star breaststroker. And for the B relay in lane 5, that looks like Charlene Hugh.
Yeah. Definitely a good race.
You can watch Megan Franks' breaststroke. She has an awesome stroke. She takes very few strokes per length, meaning she's getting a lot of power from her kick. And it's really important. It's an awesome way to conserve energy in breaststroke. So you'll watch, she'll probably pick up on the second 50.
Yeah, and she definitely drives her stroke.
Yeah.
It's really, really good to watch.
Yeah, she has an awesome stroke. The breaststroker from UVic is currently pulling away from Charlene Hugh, who looks very strong in the water.
Yeah.
It is really tough when you are under a lot of stress and fatigue to swim a sprint event. It's hard to get up and get excited, and it's hard to have that first 50 be really fast.
Yeah, and Charlene's been doing really well this year in breaststroke. And she is a junior right now, but I'm pretty sure she came into SFU being more of a sprint freestyler. So this year she's definitely become better breaststroker, and it's amazing to watch her swim.
Yeah, Megan Franks is holding the lead, while the UVic swimmer is actually making a little bit of a gain on her.
Yeah.
Coming third, it looks like Lauren Swistak will be swimming the fly leg for the SFU A relay.
And then Alicia Khan for the B relay.
Alicia and Lauren are actually really close in the 100 butterfly when it comes to their best time, so it'll be interesting to see if Alicia can make up any ground here on Lauren or on the UVic swimmer.
Yeah, they definitely are very similar because they both came from our coach, Corey B. So they trained under him all throughout high school, so they know his style of swimming, for sure.
You see, Alicia has a little bit more of a fluid fly. Lauren Swistak is an extremely powerful swimmer. You watch her underwater dolphin kicks, you can see that she gets a lot of power from her arms. It's really important for butterfly, though, to not put too much stress on your arms because your shoulders will give out really soon.
Yeah, and a lot of people think that arms should be the most powerful thing in butterfly, but your legs are going to help you, especially in a 200 butterfly.
Oh, yeah.
That's when you're really going to want your legs to be in top shape.
Alicia Khan has caught the UVic swimmer and has passed her, and Lauren Swistak continues to pull away.
Yeah, this is definitely a good race here.
This looks like two really good swims for our butterflyers. Coming in for the freestyle leg is Robin Lee, a rookie from Port Coquitlam.
Yeah. Also swam under Corey Beat, actually.
Yes, she did. We have 3 swimmers here who I think have come out of the Simon Fraser Aquatics program, which is a daughter program for Simon Fraser University.
Yeah.
The freestyle leg on the B relay in lane 5 is Elaine Lamb, who is a very strong swimmer. She is an awesome trainer. She always works hard, and you can see from her freestyle, her stroke rate is a little bit lower than Robin's, but she's pulling a lot of water.
Yeah, she's a strong swimmer.
She is extremely strong. Robin Lee's stroke rate is extremely high, you can see right now, and that's what makes her such a good sprinter.
Yeah. So hopefully in this first race we'll get some good points for the relays, because I believe that the relays score higher than any individual race.
Exactly. The relays, it goes 11 points for first, 4 points for second, 2 points for third, and no points for fourth. And a maximum of 2 relays from each team can score. So it looks like we will rack up 11 and 4 points, so a total of 15 points from this relay.
Just from one race already we're in the lead, so that's amazing.
Yeah, 4:23.19 that final time for the A relay, and 4:30 for the B relay out of lane 5. Those are some really good in-season swims. It's awesome to see these girls step up for their teammates.
Definitely. So now we'll have the men's 4x100 medley relay. First up, we have Gabe Lee in lane 3, so I guess we only have one relay for the men's side of the relays.
Yeah, it's important to save some of your swimmers. You get a maximum number of swims in a dual meet, so you can't swim every single event. So you have to be really strategic about what races you put swimmers in.
Exactly, yeah. Because usually dual meets are a lot different than normal swim meets, because swim meets at a higher level or at an international level, they'll be 3 to 4 hours long, and then finals at night. But dual meets, they're max 2, maybe 2.5 hours. So it's just race after race after race, and you have to perform in order to get some points for your team.
You have to step up for your team. Swimming can seem like a really individual sport at times, but the thing is, if you aren't stepping up in your own races, you actually might be letting some of your teammates down. So it's really important that you are ready to swim and you're ready to race and do the best that you can on that day.
Exactly.
You'll watch Gabe Lee as he pushes off this wall. He has a phenomenal underwater dolphin kick. However, it is rivaled very closely by lane 4, the UVic swimmers.
This is definitely a great race right now.
This is a good 100-meter backstroke. Gabe is qualified for the Olympic trials and is also an NCAA hopeful. We think he will probably qualify in the 4x200 freestyle relay, and hopefully also his own 200 backstroke.
Yeah, in the 200 back, he's actually placed 7th in NCAAs and also 17th in the 200-yard freestyle.
Yeah.
So those 2 events, he could have a potential.
And coming into for the next leg is breaststroke, and that looks like Colton Peterson, the rookie out of Chilliwack.
This is a great race. Neck and neck.
Yeah, neck for sure. It can really come right down to the freestylers, and there's a lot of pressure on that final leg of a relay.
Yeah, and definitely the small things. Every little thing that you do, can matter. Even a dive or a turn. If you slip on the turn, that could be your whole race right there.
Exactly, especially in such a short event.
Yeah,
it's important to race smart, but also really race fast. So the UVic team is pulling away a little bit here, but Colton is not giving up that easily.
And even if you do make a mistake, you don't want to let it destroy your race, because you could always come back, especially in 100 or even if it's a 1500. There's always room for improvement, and there's always room to get back to where you were.
Colton had a phenomenal underwater pullout, which is what you do in breaststroke. So in butterfly, backstroke, and freestyle, you will do an underwater.
We're gonna make that.
But on breaststroke, you will do an underwater pullout instead. So coming in for the fly leg is Justin Kiedsten. He's a senior out of New Westminster, BC, and he is another hopeful for NCAA's in the 100 fly, the 200 fly, and I believe he might be on that 4x100 medley relay for the men.
Yeah.
Has caught and is actually pulling away from the UVic swimmer.
He's been swimming amazingly this year.
He's had an awesome senior year.
Yeah, it's amazing to see him do so well.
Justin is actually also a treat to train with. Sometimes it's it can be really tough when you have a really hard set. It's really hard to stay positive when you feel awful, when you feel like you're gonna throw up, or you're getting to that point in the set where you really want to just stop.
Yeah.
And Justin is that person who keeps you going and cheers you on and is not just positive for himself but for you as well.
Definitely.
So here we have Adrian Vanderhelm, our only cut qualifier for NCAA's, coming into the water. Adrian has a phenomenal freestyle. He pulls so much water, but his kick is also really, really good.
Exactly. Like, look at him off the wall. It's amazing to watch.
You'll see a lot of swimmers who are good at either pull or at kick, and they will, really play on that.
Yeah.
But Adrian is good at both.
Exactly. No, it's definitely people look up to him.
Yeah, Adrian is a leader on the team. He's positive. He gets the team. He organizes team events. He organizes team cheers, and he rarely has an off day. There's, sometimes people come to the pool and they don't want to swim or practice, and they might, if they're not necessarily negative, they might just be keeping to themselves.
Yeah.
But here comes Adrian. He pulled away from that UVic swimmer. It looks like they're going to take the win for this first relay. This is 2 big wins.
Yeah, so 11 points right there for the men's team.
Yep.
So in a dual meet like this, men's and women's team are actually scored separately. So you could win only on the women's side or on the men's side or both. So it definitely depends how the scoring works.
It is a little bit of a different sport, although the men and the women is similar to wrestling or track. We train together, but we are technically different teams and we are scored separately.
Yeah, exactly. So now we have the 800 meter freestyle for the women, and we only have one swimmer right now, Karen, in lane 3.
Karen had an awesome 800 free yesterday at UPS.
Yeah.
Again, like I said earlier, it's hard to step up at a meet like that when there are very few competitors and you're tired and you've been traveling for the entire day. But Karen is one of those swimmers who's going to swim fast no matter where she is.
Yeah, so right now she's going in for her second 800 in the weekend.
Yeah.
So even right there, that's saying a lot about her.
Karen is really tough. I think she has a really tough lineup today. I think she's swimming the 800 free, the 200 fly, and I believe the 200 free or the 400 free as well. That is a killer lineup. And to begin with the 800 free.
Exactly.
So we have 4 UVic swimmers in the water right now, and it's important when you're swimming an 800 free. So we have lane 6 and lane 5 who have pulled away right off the get-go, but it is honestly anyone's race right up until the 700 meter mark.
Exactly. Anything can happen in a long race like this. And if you see right there, we have Brandon Norrie, another one of our seniors, who is counting. And actually for NCAA's, you have to have a counter, or else it counts as an exhibition race.
Yeah, it looks like this is what happened to one of our swimmers, Robin Lee, yesterday in her 400 free. She didn't have a counter, so her time, although it was a very fast time, and she technically won the 400 free, it was an exhibition swim because she did not have a counter.
Yeah, so unfortunately, those are the rules for NCAA's. So you always have to have a counter if you have 400, 800, or 1650, or 1500 race. Yeah. Depending on if it's yards or meters.
But you can see the UVic swimmers don't have a counter, and they don't need one because they are a CIS school.
Exactly.
The UVic team is actually, their program has some really, really fast distance swimmers. They had a young man who won a bronze medal in open water, so that's a 10K swim, I think, at the Olympics in 2012. So their program for distance, you'll see these girls, they may not be powerful or they may not be going out very fast, but they're going to be able to hold on for that whole race. So they'll hold a fast pace the entire time.
Yeah, and speaking of the 10K race, we actually had a swimmer last year, Tim, who competed in the, the World for the 10K race, and he actually did really well.
He did. Yeah, so that is a whole other animal. You're swimming in open water as opposed to a pool where you can see the bottom. There is no fish, and there's nothing that can come up and get you.
Yeah, there's no black line that you'd be looking at here.
Yeah, and the open water is actually really tricky. It's a little bit more physical. Not a little bit. It's a lot more physical. In the first 1,000 meters, people are literally pushing each other, pulling on each other, scratching each other. That's where swimming becomes a physical sport.
Exactly. And even when you're dragging off someone, if you find a good person to drag off of, it's definitely beneficial for you.
So dragging off someone in swimming is really similar to running. You kind of get in someone's wake, so you're right up beside them, and they are pulling you along. You'll see it sometimes in pool swimming as well. So you can see lane 2 right now is really close to that lane rope. If Karen was to move over to that side and get right up on her feet or right up close to her hips, she'd probably be able to catch a draft.
Yeah.
And it makes it a whole of a lot, it's a lot easier. They pull you along, you save a lot of energy. So Karen's fallen behind a little bit here, but we are not even 300 meters in.
No.
So it's anyone's ball game, and if I know Karen, I know she's going to pick it up on that last 300 meters.
Exactly. A lot of distance swimmers actually negative split a race, which means that you would get faster in the second half of the race. So let's say the 800 meters, we'll split it into 2 400 meters. So you would descend, get faster from your second, or from your first to your second 400. Mm-hmm. So right here we might see that in Karen's swim.
So Caitlin Gervais in lane 2 from UVic and Victoria Mock, also from UVic in lane 4, are both entered with extremely fast times. I believe that those are both Olympic trials qualifying times, or they are very close. And you'll see them. They will probably hold on to that pace the whole time.
Yeah.
They're entered with really fast times.
Caitlin Gervais is actually from Toronto. She moved to Victoria to actually pursue an open water swimming career. So that's why she chose UVic. So you see there Brandon Norrie is definitely cheering and counting for Karen there.
It can be, you know what, sometimes I know 800 is a really tough event. If you're behind at the 400 meter mark, it's really tough to mentally overcome that. You know technically that you have another 400 meters to catch someone, but it's really hard to get over that. But
exactly.
Karen may be unable to catch Caitlin Gervais in this. However, she is right in line with lanes 5 and 6, and every point counts. So as long as either way, there's only 5 swimmers in the pool, so just a refresher. For individual events, the point system works like 9 for first place, 4 for second place, 3 for third place, 2 for second place, 1 for fifth place, and 0 for sixth place. So there's no likelihood of her getting 0 points because there's only 5 swimmers in the pool. But even getting up to third place and getting 3 points, it makes a huge difference later on.
Yeah, and even now, sometimes your goggles get foggy and you actually can't see people who are beside you. So right now, Karen might think that she's all alone and she's at the back. So that's where you can't give up. You have to keep swimming and working your butt off, because you don't know that lanes 6 and 5 are really right with you and you're not out of the race.
So you can see you have the coaches cheering for her. You have Coach Sib, Coach Corey, Coach Kieran, and Coach Liam, who are all cheering for her. And Brandon Norrie at the end there with his counter, that is like the easiest way to know someone's cheering for you in freestyle, because she may not actually be able to see the coaches or her teammates who are standing along in the red there. But Brandon Norrie is able to shake that counter and just, let her know that those people in lane 5 and 6 are right there with her and she can catch them.
Exactly. And just Brandon's letting her know that he's still there with her and he'll be there with her for the entire race. So it's really nice to see that.
Yeah, it is. I personally rarely swam distance events, but when I did, it is, it's what gets you through that last little bit of the race, knowing that your teammates are there and that they're counting on you.
Exactly.
So you have senior Justin, who is cheering for Karen, and Brandon Bronson, a former teammate who is currently still on the team, who is walking along the pool deck and cheering for her. Sometimes it's hard to see your teammates while you're swimming freestyle, but when you catch a glimpse of them, and if they're going wild, then you're probably going to go wild too.
Exactly. So we also wanted to say hi to Karen's mom.
Yep, hello to Patty.
Yeah, all the way in Mexico.
Karen wanted us to give you a shout out, and she loves you very much.
Yeah.
So Karen is, it looks like she's ahead of lane 6 now, pulling away. Karen, I had the pleasure of training with her at training camp in Hawaii this year. And you know what, she was so positive throughout that whole camp, and she worked so hard. And so in an event like this is where fatigue from a training camp and from starting school and from the really heavy training that they've been doing right up until this meet will show. You'll see that they're tired, but you'll also see their fitness. You see Karen
she's actually starting to pick it up a little bit. She might catch lane 5 and actually pass her. The race is not over yet, and this is where her fitness will show through. She doesn't give up, and she definitely is not one of those swimmers who fades away in a race.
Yeah. Look at her kick. Wow, she's really bringing it in there.
Yeah. UVic swimmer Caitlin Gervais looks very strong in the water as well. She pulls away from her teammate Victoria Mock.
Yeah, so for Karen's training, for anyone's training actually, is she does Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday of distance swimming with Coach Corey. So she's been doing a lot of that, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, she swims with Coach Liam.
Yeah, and those practices are a little bit more technical and just kind of hone in on your technique a little bit, so there's no imperfections that will make swimming actually more difficult for you.
Exactly.
So Karen is starting to catch lane 5, but if lane 5, it may end up being a really good race. Lane 5 may not let go, but you never know. Karen is extremely tough, and she's really competitive.
So right now you're hearing the bells, and what that means is that a swimmer has a 50, so 2 lengths left in the race. So that is just in case that the swimmer isn't counting herself. So they ring that bell to make sure that they know they only have a 50 left in the race.
Yeah, you can see Karen's kick pick up. Even if you know there's 200 meters left, there's something about that last 50 where you know you might as well give it all you got.
Yeah, and you hear that bell, and you're almost on the race.
Yeah, you can see her teammates cheering her on there, trying to make her catch lane 5.
Yeah,
you never know. Caitlin Gervais touches first out of lane 2 in a time of 8:59. That is extremely fast in-season time. Victoria Mock comes second with a 9:04. It looks like their other teammates out of UVic touches third in a 9:10, and Karen comes fourth in a 9:12. Those are actually extremely fast times from everyone. That was a really good race.
Exactly. Karen, 9:12 is amazing. What did she go at Clan Cup, her peak meet?
She was like a 9:09 or something. She definitely was not under 9 minutes. So you know what? An in-season, this just bodes extremely well for her peak meet, be it NCAA's, or she might be peaking for their Portland meet. So that's another thing we can talk about actually is swimmers who are not qualified or likely or maybe right on the bubble for qualification for NCAA's will swim a meet in Portland. Everyone will go down, but these swimmers will shave and taper, meaning that they're going to really prepare for this meet, and they want to go fast there, and they want to try and qualify.
And people actually shave their arms too.
Yep.
To get all the glide.
Yeah. You'll see the men shave their head. Justin is a fan of that.
Yes.
And you hear rumors. I've never seen anyone do it. Shave their back as well. I don't know if I'm all about that. But this is the men's 800 free, and it looks like we only have 2 SFU swimmers: Mackenzie Hamill, a freshman from Oakville, Ontario, and Tim Winowski, a sophomore from Port Coquitlam.
So these 2 are actually 2 hopefuls for NCAA's. They're very close in both the 400-meter freestyle and the 1650, I think, and the 1,000-yard freestyle. Tim is actually ranked 7th, and then Mackenzie is ranked 4th in the 1650.
These 2 they show the variation that you can get in freestyle strokes, especially amongst distance swimmers. Mac is an extremely strong and powerful swimmer. He takes very few strokes of length, and he really pulls his way through the water, whereas Tim Winowski, who is a little bit on the smaller side for a swimmer, takes a lot of strokes per length, but he keeps his stroke rate up to make sure that he can keep up with his competitors. And Tim is the one who actually competed at the World Championships for the open water swimming. So you'll see him. Mackenzie may pull away in the beginning of the race, but Tim will continue to pick up. Tim could honestly swim forever.
Yeah, he has a very good back half of his races.
So that's good. They're even right away coming into the 150. But yeah, you can see Mackenzie's taking very few strokes, really powerful, whereas Tim is probably taking almost 2 strokes for every one of Max.
It's really interesting because usually at a dual meet, the boys and girls have separate or different opposite events. So usually if the women swim the 800 meters, the men would swim the 1650 or the 1500. So it's funny that today they're both swimming the 800 meters.
Yeah, this meet is a 16 event format. So instead of having, a lot of times dual meets will work
you don't want your swimmers to get too tired, especially swimmers who swim like a single stroke, such as breaststroke or backstroke or butterfly. You don't want them to do the 100 meter and the 200 meter on the same day, because that's really tough. But in a 16 event format, you'll see the 100 meters of a stroke along with the 200. So unless you are a pure sprinter and you can only do the 100, you are most likely going to be in that 100 and that 200 of that stroke. So you'll see that with Alicia Kahn and Lawrence Wistacker both swimming the 100 meter and the 200 meter fly.
Yeah.
Same with Brandon Norrie and Justin Kiedgen.
Wow, so they're still together here, which is good. I wonder if they're going to be pacing off each other. So pacing off each other just means that you're, how do I put it? Just going the same speed.
Yeah.
And going at the same pace. So have a similar game plan, basically.
Yeah. And another thing that's important about pacing is sometimes you may feel awesome and you feel like you're ready to swim. But if your competitors are not swimming fast, it's very unlikely that you're going to step up and swim out of this world, because you have no one to actually race you. And that's kind of the mark of a great swimmer, is being able to swim fast, regardless if you're behind or if you are so far ahead. Sometimes you need to learn how to swim without other people around you. But for distance swimming, that's incredibly difficult. You don't really know where you are, if you're really far ahead or if you're really far behind. And if you're really far behind, that can be super discouraging. And then if you're really far ahead and no one's catching you, there's no fire there for you to, pick up at the end and go fast.
Yeah. Distance is definitely a mental kind of racing.
That's the fun thing about distance swimming, is you can play some games a little bit. So this is actually extremely interesting. You might see Mackenzie, has a little bit more power. He may have an awesome last 100 meters or 50 meters, but Tim, who looks like he's a little bit ahead, just a little bit, if he continues at a higher pace than Mackenzie, he may be too far ahead for Mac to catch him. But Mac is actually battling sickness right now, going into training camp and then coming out of training camp. It's really hard to recover while you're there.
Exactly.
So you'll see a little bit of fatigue in him, as well with training in an indoor pool. It can be extremely difficult. You see a lot of swimmers who get exercise-induced asthma because the air quality in a pool or a training facility is so poor. Tim is pulling a little bit away now, and he's swimming. You can see, this is what I was talking about earlier. We were mentioning about dragging off each other. Tim is swimming up the right side of the lane rope on the opposite side of Mackenzie, because sometimes you know when someone is going to try to drag off you. You can feel it when someone's going to try and drag off you, and it's no fun to carry someone on top of yourself.
Yeah, so right now Tim is slightly turning before Mac.
Yeah, a little bit. It looks like he's about 0.4, 0.5 ahead of Mac right now. They're at the 450 there.
But like we said, anything could happen in a distance race or even any of the other races. So even if we think right here that Tim's going to win, Mac might just sneak in there.
Yeah, Mac may have. Mac actually showed us in his 400 freestyle at Clan Cup. He was racing his teammate Adrian Vanderhelm. Adrian was fast right out of the gate, and Adrian is a strong swimmer, also extremely fit. But he trains with the sprint group at SFU, and you could see Mackenzie just would not let go and was starting to reel him in on that last 50.
Yeah, so what we mean by the sprint group is that in the program there's actually 3 groups. There's the sprint group, distance group, and then the mid-distance group. So those 3 groups train with separate coaches, the distance with Corey, sprint with Coach Liam, and then mid-distance with Coach Sib. So they all do specific training schedules and practices that suit that distance.
You can see Mackenzie as he's coming into the wall a little bit. He's double breathing, meaning that he breathes to one side and immediately breathes to the other. And while in a distance event, this is not that serious, but it's just showing that he's a little bit fatigued right now. You can see it, and you can see it in his shoulders as well. And Tim is starting to pull away. Tim performs extremely well under high fatigue. He's one of those swimmers who will swim fast. And if you prepare Tim, if you give him taper, which means that you are cutting back the volume of the practices and making them a little bit easier, he may not perform as well because his fitness won't be as high. But you'll get some bigger and heavier swimmers like Mackenzie who might need a little bit of a taper to be able to perform.
Yeah. So right now we see that Tim is taken off a little bit from Mac.
Yeah, he looks like he has almost a 2 body length lead on Mac, and about 2.5 seconds ahead of him at that wall.
But even here, we can't guarantee a win.
No.
Because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So if it looks like Mackenzie is fading a little bit here, you can see his kick is slowed down, but he may be saving up for that last 100.
Yeah, and when you hear the bell, that's when all the legs come out.
Yeah, you'll see. I mean, you'll see it. People pull something out at that last 50, like they're starting a brand new race.
And here you can see James and Brandon counting for Tim and Mac, and James is actually counting up while Brandon is counting down. So it just depends on what the swimmer prefers. You can do either way, it works. You just have to have a counter for NCAA rules.
And the rule is actually that you only need your counter in on the first length and the last length. So if a swimmer does not want you to put the counter in, you don't need to put it in. So it looks like they're coming into the final 100 here. Tim is continuing to pull away here. Mackenzie, you can see he's picking up his kick a little bit, but I think it might be a little bit too late for him to catch Tim.
Yeah, I think you can see that Mac's a little bit tired right now. Definitely coming off his sickness. So I think he missed a practice this week. So it's definitely caused a toll on him because he's not one to miss any practices usually.
Well, the swimmers actually, they have a lot of training. They have about 9 practices a week, and it averages between 30 and 40 hours of training. So these athletes manage basically a full-time job on top of a full course load.
Exactly.
And it's not a full-time job where you go to work and you go home. You are extremely fatigued after a practice, and the last thing you want to do is homework, but you have to.
Yeah. They definitely say that practices are only 2 hours, but swimmers know that it lasts definitely longer than that.
Yeah, including dryland. But you have Tim is coming in. He is picking up his kick. His stroke rate is picked up. He did an extremely good job of this race. He touches in at 8:26.23. That's an awesome in-season swim for Tim.
Yeah. I think yesterday, right at the meet, he went 8:24. So a 2-second drop is nothing. It's perfect.
Yeah, that was an awesome swim. That just shows the consistency of Tim's swimming and his fitness level right now.
Yeah.
The next race coming up is the 200-meter freestyle, women's 200-meter. The 200-meter free is an extremely fun race to watch because it's not as long as a 400 or an 800 where you get some people who are going to really play games and stay really far behind, but you have to go out fast in a 200-meter. And you need to be able to hold on top of that. So you'll see some sprinters who might win because they're so far ahead on that first 100, but you'll see some mid-distance swimmers who are really good at that third and fourth 50. So for SFU, in lane 1, we have Brooke Ansell. In lane 3, there's Robin Lee. And lane 5 is Megan Barrick.
Yeah, so the boys back here are actually just recovering from their races, checking their times probably from the timers.
Yeah.
And here we go, the first start of the 200-meter freestyle.
So this is a swim that Robin Lee actually does a lot, and same with Megan Barrick. And Brooke, this is maybe an off event for her, but she's an extremely fit swimmer and extremely strong swimmer, so she will be able to pick up for a race like this.
It's funny because 200 freestyle for a sprinter, so people who normally swim 50 or 100, a 200 could be technically considered a distance event. But then for distance swimmers, those who swim 1,000, 1,500, things like that, this can be considered as a sprint.
Yeah, exactly.
So it really depends on what kind of swimmer you are.
So Robin was out first there, but I mean just barely. Those 3 girls are extremely close. She's out in a 30.48. That's a really good first 50. Megan Barrick looking extremely strong. So Megan is a distance swimmer swimming with Corey Beat, while Robin is a sprint swimmer swimming with Liam. And on the right in the middle there is Brooke Ansell, who is a mid-distance swimmer and swimming with Sib.
So we have a swimmer from every single group right now.
It's true. So you might see Brooke be able to pick it up in the middle here. So even though Robin Lee is a sprint swimmer, she's extremely fit and she will be able to hold on. But you might actually see Megan Barrick pick up. So this is where you'll see the differences in the 2 types of swimmers.
Yeah, and Megan is actually sick right now. So she's been doing really, really well considering her sickness.
Mm-hmm. And Robin Lee started off the season right off the bat with a rib injury, was unable to swim, and about 2 weeks in actually got mono. So she was out for a very long time, but then was able to race by Clan Cup and performed extremely well given the circumstances.
Yeah, so if you take care of yourself, even when you're not swimming, you can definitely come back and have some good racing, just like we saw Robin did at Clan Cup.
Yeah, it looks like Robin turned first there at the 150, and you can see Brooke Ansell pick it up. She may actually catch lane 4. So hopefully her teammates cheer her on. To get a 1, 2, 3 in an event like this is huge.
Definitely.
So Robin is picked up, but look at lane 4. She from UVic. She is also picking up the kick, but I don't think she'll catch Megan Barrick. So Robin is pulling away. You can see her picking up the kick and her stroke rate. So she's touching first in a 2:08.86. Megan touches second in a 2:11.02.
Those are really good swims for those two girls.
Brooke Ansel comes fourth in the 2:13.36.
Excellent.
Yeah, those are awesome in-season swims. The 200 free especially, if you don't pace that right, it can be a really, really painful event. So there's a shot of Robin Lee right there coming off a win. She looks like she's pretty happy with that race. It's a decent swim for an in-season swim. I think her best time's about a 2:05. So to be 3 seconds over your best time and in-season under heavy training is really, really good.
Yep, so next we're going to see the men's event for the 200 freestyle, and this is where we can see Adrian. So this is one of his best races right now. This is what he qualified for NCAAs with his A-cut. So it's definitely a swimmer to look out for in this race.
Yeah, so it looks like we have Daniel Kilmaster in lane 1, Adrian Vanderhelm in lane 3, and Graham Campbell, another distance swimmer out of lane 5.
Yeah. So we actually, once again, we have one swimmer from every group. So Daniel is actually in the mid-distance group, and then Adrian's in the sprint group, and Graham is in the distance group. So 200 freestyle race is something that all swimmers can swim. It's definitely not, doesn't have to be a specialty swim, just anyone can swim it.
It is an extremely tough event. It is, it's really hard. It's not quite a sprint, it's not quite distance, and you have to go fast for those whole 8 lengths. You can see lane 4, Cale Murdoch. He actually competed yesterday at the Swim BC Senior Circuit out in Surrey. He is also a very strong swimmer. That was a long course meet, meaning that the pool is 50 meters instead of 25 meters. It takes a little bit more technical skill to be a good long course swimmer. He is a very strong swimmer. I believe he is also qualified for Olympic trials and CIS championships, and he may not catch Adrian, but he will definitely be a good person to pace for him. So Adrian has someone to light the fire there.
So for those of you who don't know, CIS is just the college university swimming
In
Canada. So all the universities who compete at CIS level, which is basically all of the schools except for SFU, because we're with NCAAs, they'll be competing at that meet, and you have to make a qualifying time to be entered in the swim meet, just as the same as for NCAAs.
So Adrian turns first at the 150 in a 120.89, but Cale Murdoch is only about a second a bit behind, but I don't think he'll catch Adrian on this one. We have Graham, who looks like he's currently in 6th, and he might be passing his own teammate Daniel, though. I think the UVic swimmers will pull off a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and this is where the points can rack up again. This is where it might look like a 1:49.04 for Adrian Vanderhelm. That is a very fast in-season swim.
Yeah, you can see he's a little tired, but I think he's pretty happy with that swim.
Yeah. Adrian is another person who is extremely fun to train with. He's always positive. He's always willing to work hard. And you actually will not see Adrian have a bad practice at any point.
No. And even when we would finish early at practice, he would just keep swimming and just getting the mileage in. You can tell that he really wants to succeed in swimming.
He does. And you can see we got 6th place for Graham Campbell, and it looks like it was 5th for Daniel Kilmaster, so Graham was unable to catch Daniel, and the UVic swimmers take 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
So here's Adrian walking off, looking at his time. Maybe not too happy, but it's still a great swim for him in season.
Yeah. So Adrian is pretty tough on himself when it comes to events like this, but that was actually a very fast in-season swim.
He should be very proud of himself. So he was going to go into the dive tank, which is just to warm down, get your body adjusted to what you just swam.
This next event is the women's 100-meter backstroke. It looks like we only have 3 SFU swimmers, so we will be taking 1, 2, 3 in this event. So we have Lauren Fauchon in lane 2, Margaret Koska in lane 3, and Carly Graliak, who is one of our seniors, in lane 4.
Yeah, she'll be recognized later today along with Brandon and Justin in the ceremony for the seniors.
Lauren Fauchon would like to say hello to her mom, Carol, and tell her that she loves her very much.
Yeah. We have a lot of parents listening in today.
So you can see this is another interesting event. Margaret Koska is a little bit more of a 200 backstroker than a 100-meter backstroker, and Carly is an extremely strong swimmer who is more of a 100-meter backstroker and is out in about 0.2 faster than Marin. But you might see Marin really pick up on that last 50.
It's interesting because Marin was in the relay this morning and split a 31, but now she's going at 32. So she might be a little bit tired from the 100-meter backstroke that she swam not even maybe 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, so you can see Marin's kick is dying down a little bit, but Carly's kick is actually picked up. And Carly will touch versus 100-meter backstroke in a 105.61.
That's an amazing swim for Carly.
That's a very fast swim.
Yesterday she went a 106, so a second difference in betterment over time.
Over one day. And Lauren Fauchon touches in a 112.65, which is also a very good time for her in season. Yeah, so Carly is one of our seniors and has done extremely well this past season. She's really picked up the pace, and she's always positive. She's always ready to step up for her relay and for her teammates.
Yeah, so next we'll see the men's 100 backstroke. And in this we only have two of the men's from SFU, Gabe Lee and Nico Hernandez.
Gabe is an NCAA hopeful in the 200-meter backstroke, but you can watch him here. He may not have the stroke rate to be able to keep up with people in the 100-meter backstroke, but he still, I think, is probably head and shoulders faster than the competition in this field.
Yeah, and his walls are definitely one to look for.
In a short course pool like this, so short course being that's a 25-meter pool instead of a 50-meter pool, this is where he will excel because he gets to use those walls to his advantage. And even more so if he's at a yards meet, 25 yards, those walls are very, very, very important.
Yeah, because in 25 yards, it's a little bit shorter than a 25-meter pool. And that's usually what schools in the States compete in. They do 25 yards and then a 50-meter long course training.
Ryan Howe from UVic is out extremely fast with a really high stroke rate, but you may see him drop off a little bit. So he's out in a 27.14 and about a second and a half ahead of Gabe, who's the next person. You, over 100, you may not be able to make up a difference like that. So that's where you really have to pick up and be ready to race right off the bat. We also have a UVic swimmer in lane 2, Evan Leckman.
So in a backstroke race like this, you can only push off the wall and do underwater kick for a certain distance for 15 meters. So if you go past that line and that limit, then you will get disqualified.
So Gabe came third in that swim with a 57.48, which is actually not a bad in-season time. We have Nico Hernandez, who came fifth with a minute. Those are decent in-season times, especially having come off a meet yesterday.
Yesterday at the meet, Adrian actually swam the 100 back and went 59, and that was an off race for him. So this is definitely something to look at. So Gabe went a 57 today, so that's definitely one of his best races.
And it's it's tough when someone is out so quickly like Ryan Howe was on that 100. It can be really hard to mentally get back at it. Yeah. So the next event is the women's 100-meter breaststroke, and we have Charlene Hugh in lane 1, Megan Franks in lane 3, and Isabella Koch in lane 5.
So now these girls are getting ready to get on the blocks and watch their dives. It's really interesting. Some people go right down, some people do an arc. It's really interesting the way people dive.
The best way to dive is to go as far as you possibly can without doing, a big rainbow dive. This is not actual diving. We're not going for style points here. We're going for power. And entering the water as if there's a tiny little hole that you want to go through. So you want to enter in the most streamlined way you possibly can. So the littlest splash, although, a massive splash might look really cool if you're going really fast, it's really not streamlined to enter like that. In lane 4 is Sarah Galbraith, who I mentioned at the beginning of this program, and she is a fantastic swimmer. She's out extremely fast, but you can see Megan's stroke is a little bit smoother. She might be able to catch her on this next 50. So Megan might have a little bit more power than on the last 50 than Sarah Galbraith, who is a little bit more of a sprinter.
It's funny, all these swimmers from SFU in the pool are actually coming from Coach Sibb's program, the mid-distance.
So you might be able to see them pick up on that third 25. So Isabella Koch is pushing ahead of teammate Charlene Hugh. Let's see if Isabella can catch lane 6. Every single point matters here. You want to coming 5th over coming 6th is actually a huge improvement and a huge achievement. So it looks like Sarah Galbraith will touch first, but Megan Franks touches in a 1:14.76, which is a really good in-season time. Isabella Koch touches in a 1:18.47, and Charlene Hugh in a 1:18.28.
Those are really good swims for all of them.
Those are extremely fast. It looks like Megan Franks is a little bit disappointed, but she's also been sick and had some troubles with her knees this season, so it is a really good, it bodes well for the coming months.
Yeah, so the next race is the men's 100 breaststroke. We'll see Keenan Elliott and James Cormier from SFU. And it's important to look at these UVic swimmers.
looks like Richard Bourgeois. He's entered with a 102. That's a fast 100-meter breaststroke time.
In this race, it seems that James Cormier has been replaced by Colton.
Yeah, so I think in dual meets you are allowed to make changes to the lineup right up until that event.
Yeah.
So you can do that, and it might be because James had a really tough lineup, because James is another distance swimmer, and it looks like Colton, his breaststroke is on today.
Yeah, and he was actually just in the relay. And then Keenan Elliott has been training breaststroke as well, trying to make the Olympic trials cut in March.
The men's swimming is a little bit different than the women's swimming. It is more difficult for the men to qualify for NCAAs than it is for them to qualify for Canadian Nationals. So Canadian Nationals is not a varsity meet, but the NCAAs is extremely fast for the men, whereas for the women, it might be a little bit easier for them to qualify for NCAAs than it is for them to qualify for Canadian Nationals. So, you'll see a little bit of disparity there, and that's why the team that we sent last year, there were 8 women, and only one from the men's team was there.
Yeah, and Adrian was actually the first male swimmer from SFU to ever make NCAAs.
So we have Colton and Keenan. Keenan is catching lane 4, but no one's going to catch lane 2, and it looks like Colton may touch 2nd, and Keenan touches 4th. So 2nd and 4th, that's pretty good. 105.76 for Colton and 106.46 for Keenan. Those are decent in-season times again.
Yeah, so now, actually, the next race is a 200-meter butterfly we're all SFU swimmers, Karen, Lauren, and Alicia. And this is actually going to be a really, really great race.
So the 200-meter butterfly is a whole other animal when it comes to swimming. It is an extremely tough event, and it's mentally it's hard, physically it's hard. It's 8 lengths of one of the hardest strokes you can possibly do.
Yeah, not many people can do it, but these 3 are actually one of the best 200 flyers on our team.
Lauren Swistak is really good at performing in season when she has a little bit of fatigue. It's she likes it. She likes being able to feel that way more than she likes being tapered. So you might see an awesome swim out of her today.
Yeah, and you'll definitely see Lauren Swistak swimming the 200 fly at NCAAs and at Olympic trials. So this is her best event.
Alicia Khan has also I think she formerly thought of herself as a 100-meter butterflyer, but yeah, she performed extremely well in the 200-meter butterfly at Klein Cup. And she may be changing her focus a little bit too. She has a really nice rhythmical fly. She makes it look easy when it is not. You see Karen Castillo as well, or her fly, it's not her best stroke, but she's so fit and so strong that she will be able to keep up with these girls. And you'll see Lauren, who's extremely strong, may drop off a little bit towards the end, but will maintain her strength, whereas Karen will probably pick up.
Yeah, so Lauren has actually been working on her back half of her 200 fly races, because at the beginning she tended to go out very quick and then sort of fade towards the end, and that let people come in and catch her. But recently she's been trying really, really hard to work on her back half with Coach Corey, and it's definitely been paying off. She looks really, really good here.
Wow, out in a 103.79, that's extremely fast split. This third 50 is the kicker when it comes to 200-meter butterfly. This is where you'll start to feel fatigue. This is where the mental fatigue sets in as well, and it's really important to keep positive at this point, because as soon as you start to let that negativity enter your mind, that race is over.
Yeah.
So Lauren still looks really strong. You'll see a little bit of fatigue in her arms, but as long as her hips are still coming high out of the water and she's maintaining her kick, she will have no problem finishing this race in an awesome time.
Yeah, she actually wanted to make a pretty good cut today for her time, so I think it's definitely going to pay off, and it looks really, really good.
139.01 for the 150, more than 6 seconds ahead of teammate Alicia Khan.
Her best, Lauren's best time is actually 2:14, where she swam that 2 years ago, I believe.
Yep.
So she's been trying to get back at that time, but she's also been to NCAAs every year. She's a junior right now, so she's been to 2, and most likely will go to NCAAs this year as well.
This looks like it's going to be a really fast swim for Lauren Swistak. She's going to touch in maybe a little bit over her best time, but definitely under what she swam at Klein Cup.
Yeah, at Klein Cup, I believe she went about
2:15.38. That's
wow.
an extremely fast time for Lauren Swistak.
So you can see her face there. I think she's kind of happy.
She looks pretty happy.
Yeah.
And then Alicia Khan touches in 2:25, and Karen Castillo in 2:28.28. So that 2:15 is will most likely get Lauren into the NCAA championships.
Yeah, definitely, because she was going in with a 2:17 from Klein Cup, and that put her 7th. So this will definitely put her top in the rankings, definitely.
You can hear her teammates cheering for her there. Everyone knows that was a good time. Everyone knows that's going to put her in, most likely, into that NCAA championship.
Yeah, so like what you were saying, Alex, she's definitely better under pressure, and not under pressure, but in season and in training. So that was definitely a really good race for her.
And that's something the coaches will have to keep in mind as well, is if you start to taper Lauren, she may not be able to perform as well as she does when she's tired. She likes being able to feel the water and feel a little bit of that fatigue. So now we have the men's 200-meter butterfly. We have Brandon Norrie in lane 1, Mac Hamill in lane 3, and Savelli Youngman in lane 5.
So Savelli, Sava, like we like to call him, didn't swim with us last semester because he wanted to stay home and train with his home club, but decided to come back to SFU, do school, and also join the program for his second year, just after training camp.
Sava looks really strong out in this first 50, but again, you never know when it comes to a 200-meter butterfly. Mac is an extremely strong, low stroke great flyer. You'll see him, he will maintain this the whole time, and that's where he'll make his move on the third and fourth 50 on his competitors. Brandon Norrie, who's a senior, this is one of his best events, and he is extremely fit. He likes to go out a little bit faster, and he is pretty good at maintaining. Sava usually maintains pretty well too. His last 50 tends to be really, really fast.
Yeah, and you can already see him right now pulling away from the others. So it's a good race so far for Sava and all the other boys as well.
So we have Ryan Howe, who had, he just was in the 100 breaststroke, I believe, so he might be a little bit tired. We might be able to see our swimmers catch him on that third 50. Sava missed Clan Cup, which is our peak meet where most people try to qualify for NCAAs. So it's really important for him to try and swim fast at every opportunity he gets, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's out in a 58.68, and extremely fast.
Yeah. So even if it's not a peak meet, you want to try and get as close as you can to getting into the NCAA meet.
Brandon Norrie is making a move on Mackenzie Hamill. He might actually be able to catch lane 2 as well if he picks it up on this last 50, because you'll see the fatigue. So you can see lane 2, he's struggling to get his arms all the way out of the water. Same with lane 4. This is where our boys can hopefully pick up and get that second and third position. You can see Mac is attempting to pick his kick up. You can see how high his feet are coming out of the water there.
And you can definitely see that Mac is tired, especially after his 800-meter freestyle this morning.
He's an extremely tough lineup today. So you'll see Mac, his kick is coming, he's really tight kick. He's getting his head down quickly. He's got to get his rate up. He knows he can come second, although lane 4 is not letting go easily. Also, I would like to point out, Savage went up 2:05.57. It's really fast.
Very fast.
Time.
That will definitely get him up there on the rankings for NCAAs.
2:13 for Mackenzie Hamill in lane 3, and Brandon Norrie comes 5th, which again, like I pointed out earlier, coming 5th over 6 is really important. Yeah, I guess there was no 6 somewhere though. But he goes a 2:16.47. It's interesting. Lauren Swistak would have come 4th in that event. Well done, Lauren.
Wow.
She would have been 4th in the men's event.
Lauren definitely did a good job on her 200-meter butterfly there.
She did. You can see Mackenzie and Brandon were some of the swimmers who were suffering from illness earlier, like in the season, right out of the gate in January. But this is okay. Mackenzie is most likely going to qualify for 200, for
400 freestyle.
Yeah, for his 400 free, his 1,000 free, and probably 1650 as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, being sick now for him is not as big of a deal as if he was going to be sick right before NCAAs.
Yep, so now we're moving on to the 50-meter freestyle, and this race will go by in a second. Basically, one of the quickest races out there.
So we have Ali Gracken in lane 1, Elaine Lamb in lane 3, and Sydney Peak in lane 5. So Elaine is an extremely strong swimmer, and so is Sydney Peak. But you'll see lane 4, Sarah Galbraith, who is also very strong, and she is a really good 100-meter freestyler as well. But it looks like Sydney was first off that 25 wall, and she's starting to pull away a little bit. But honestly, it comes right down to the touch. So it looks like Sarah Galbraith, honestly, might be a couple inches taller, but Sydney's fading. Elaine's pulling up. Elaine might win it. Elaine comes second, but so Sarah Galbraith wins from UVic with a 27.78, and second to Elaine Lamb, and third to Sydney Peak.
That was still a really good swim for all the girls down there.
Yeah, Ali Gracken comes 6th with a 29.25. It's really good for her to be going under 30 consistently at a meet like this.
Yeah, so the next race is actually the men's 50 freestyle, and yesterday, Graham and Justin were both in this race. And Graham actually false started yesterday because he got a little bit too pumped up for the race against Justin.
Sometimes that happens, especially when you're racing your own teammate. It's almost a little bit more nerve-wracking to race people you know or your friends or your teammates than it is to race strangers.
Yeah, because you want to beat your friends, but you also want to be a good teammate.
Sometimes you want to beat them.
Yeah.
So
especially when you know how they're training and
you know how they race.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know exactly what they're going to do.
But you'll see Justin in lane 3, he trains with the sprint group with Liam Donnelly, and Graham Campbell's a distance swimmer and swimming with Corey Beat. So Graham did not false start there. Well done, Graham.
That's good. He's also wearing a training suit, so that's a little bit surprising for a dual meet because you should be wearing an arena somewhat racing suit, just a little bit.
You won't be wearing your best ever racing suit, but you should probably be wearing a jammer. But Justin is pulling away. He's going to win this, no problem.
And Justin actually does not like wearing swim caps, so he'll be probably the only one on the team that doesn't wear a swim cap. And then when it comes to a peak meet like our Clang Cup or Portland or even NCAAs and Olympic trials, he'll just shave his head because he doesn't want to wear a cap.
He doesn't like caps, I guess. I guess it makes his head too hot.
Yeah,
And
so
you feel that sometimes.
Yeah, he'll just always shave his head.
So Justin came first and Graham came fourth. Those were some pretty fast times there. The 53, sometimes if you make a single mistake in that race, it will ruin the whole race. And that's the thing that sucks about sprinting, is everything needs to be on point all the time.
So I believe we have a break now.
So I think we're going to try and get some of our teammates up here, and we'll interview them after the race and at the break. And so a lot of them will be warming down, getting ready for that next for the next session. You can see here, those were some pretty good races for our team so far. You can see their fitness levels. You can see the fatigue and the sickness of some of those swimmers, though, and that's to be expected. We are, still in flu season, and you're coming back to school, and we just came off a really tough training camp.
Yes. So now during the breaks, it's actually a really good time to warm down after your races. Use the big the dive tank and the big pool just to loosen up and not get too tired after your races, because it's not done yet. You still have our 16 format race, so there's a lot more races to be done after this.
There's a lot going on, and there's a. So there's so many events to be swum that you really got to warm down. You have to maintain your body. You don't want to be breaking down, especially relays. So you'll have a relay at the beginning of a meet and a relay at the end of the meet. And so it's super important to make sure that you're prepared for that last relay, because relays are worth more points. And so relays are worth
So we're actually going to take a break now. But we'll try and get a swimmer up here just to talk about the races so far. But right now we're just going to short break quickly, and then we'll be back to you soon in no time.
One team,
400 athletes strong.
We sing not one,
But 2 national anthems.
We strive to always be better.
We put our heart into competition.
We pursue national championships and university degrees.
We care about our communities.
we are
We are Canada's NCAA team.
Canada's NCAA team.
Canada's NCAA team. We are Canada's NCAA team.
It's on us to stop sexual violence.
we are Canada's NCAA team.
With 400 student athletes in 17 sports.
Together, we can end sexual violence at SFU.
To look out for each other.
And not look the other way.
To get a friend home safe.
To not blame the victim.
It's on us.
It's on us.
To speak up.
To step in.
To support those who need it.
To be a part of the solution, not the problem.
It's on me, it's on you, it's on us.
Because consent matters.
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 Learn more about how you can contribute to a culture of zero tolerance towards sexual violence at SFU by visiting sfu.ca/sexual assault.
Because together, we can make a difference.
Hi, Carly. So now we're back. So how did you think your swim went this morning?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was good. I raced a little bit faster than yesterday. It was my second round of 100 backstroke this weekend.
Yeah, so yesterday you swam 100 back and you went 106?
Yeah.
And then today 105? Yeah? What do you think? Why was there a change?
I think a little bit more excitement, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think I kind of knew where I stood yesterday, and then I kind of was able to improve on it
That's
today.
good.
Yeah. Do you think that having the UVic swimmers and also racing Marin today, do you think that helped you pick up your pace a little bit?
I think for sure, yeah.
Do you also, it's your last home mate here as a clansman. Do you think that there's a little bit of pressure here, or maybe a little bit just like some emotion involved in your races?
Oh yeah, emotion for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I was thinking about it today coming to the pool, but I think I'm trying to make it more excitement than a sad.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
What other events do you have lined up for today?
I also have 200 backstroke, and then at the very end after the second break, I have the freestyle relay.
Nice.
So what do you prefer, 100 back or 200 back?
100 back for
100
sure.
back?
Yeah.
Why is that? Just shorter race?
More sprint. I prefer actually the 50 backstroke, but
50 backstroke's the
do that
best.
more frequently.
How's your training been with Coach Sib?
With Coach Sib, it's been good. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, it's definitely it's nice, like coming back from training camp. Like it's a little bit different with different coaches, and so I get like a little bit of every single coach. So it's really nice having that like variety of coaches. So
that's good.
Yeah.
How was training camp for you?
It was good. It was my favorite so far of like all of the training camps.
That's good. So ending on a good note.
Yeah, a really good note. Yeah,
That's
for sure.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel stronger coming out of training camp?
Way stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can even like tell in practice like I can make faster pace times, swimming with like in like a faster lane. Challenge myself when I can. I'm actually able to like do it, so it's really nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So just out of curiosity, do you have any memories that stand out at SFU over your 4 years? You've been here for 4 years, and is there anything that stands out particularly over your swimming career?
We're putting you on the spot here.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like every time I swim 100 backstroke, I think it's like a little bit more exciting, and I always like to challenge myself. So I think maybe my 100 backstroke at this last Clan Cup. I think because I finally broke this goal that I've had since I was like 15.
Yeah,
so
nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
really good.
Yeah, Carly, congratulations on such a good career, and I hope to see you go to the NCAA this year. That would be awesome, and I hope that your senior recognition is everything you hope for.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck with the rest of your races.
Thank you.
So I think we'll have Megan Barrett come join us now. Never mind.
Maybe Lauren Swistak is up here to talk to us about her really great race.
Yeah, Lauren Swistak had an awesome 200-meter butterfly. We also like to call her Swizz Khalifa on occasion.
So just to recap, Lauren went a 2:15, so probably her second best time. So I think she's pretty happy about that. So she's going to come talk to us about her race.
And that is 99.99% going to get her into the NCAA championship.
Yeah, so she probably doesn't have to worry about that
anymore. Yeah, come join us.
So Lauren's going to come join us. Thank you, Carly.
Hello.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
How are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah? How was that swim for you?
It was good.
Yeah.
I felt it was, it was a good against Karen and Alicia, and we had fun.
Were you expecting to be that fast, or what were you going in thinking?
Just swimming what I wanted to, like what is what I've been training for, like in Hawaii, and we all been working hard, so just something that I wanted to do.
That's good. So we were talking actually about how you're better in training, in season. You don't really like to taper that much.
No.
And then swim off of a taper. So how do you think that works? Why do you think you do better when you're in training mode?
I guess it's all like a mental game, and sometimes, gets the best of me sometimes at those big competitions. And, I feel like now that I'm in my third year, my first year I kind of had some troubles. In my second year, I went a little better. Still a little bit of mental, but I think, been working with Corey and Coach and like other teammates. I've talked a lot, and I think, I've been improving with that.
That's good. So always room for improvement.
Yeah.
What was your what was the game plan that you talked with about Corey before that race? Was it just relaxing and doing what you normally do, or was there something specific about like picking up on the third 50? Or
well, it's always usually the same thing. Like, do not try to go out too fast and get too excited. Sometimes I usually do, but this time I wanted to, just stick to my stroke rate. That's what I've been doing. Like breathe every 2 and then 1 head down, and that's what I want to keep, and just like just only think about that. Don't think about being tired or anything.
Definitely.
So
well, it looked really good.
It did. On the third 50 a little bit, you could see the fatigue set in.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's where, like, I think in tuner fly, you make a mental decision on whether or not you're going to be tired.
Yeah.
Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, I just kind of said, you know, like, hold on, you can do this. You know?
It's going to be hard either
Yeah.
way, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you will be going to NCAA championships with that. Is there any, like, game plan, or are you just going to relax going in?
Yeah, you know, I've been called no chill Swiss stack, so I think I'm gonna take a little bit of chill and, you know, have some fun. That's what it's all about, and, you know, like, it'll be great having all of us. I think a lot of people will be coming to NCAAs this year, you know, and it'll be great.
That's
you
good.
know, with a bunch of friends. So.
How are you feeling today with the seniors having their last dual meet here?
You know, I'll be a little bit emotional.
Yeah.
You know, Justin and Brandon and Carly.
Justin,
you know.
husband
Justin.
material.
Oh, yeah. But,
So what do you have next after the break?
100 fly and then relays.
Okay.
So it should be good. You
That's
know,
good.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing a really good job. So I'm really happy to see everyone else's races, and there's the girls getting ready. You know, game faces on.
Yep.
Perfect.
Well,
Well,
we're about to
yeah.
start again pretty soon.
Yeah.
well, thank
Go
you for
Klein, go.
talking. Bye, Lauren. Good luck with the rest of your races. All right, so now we're back to the pool after this short break. We're going to be starting with the 100 freestyle. So it's kind of funny going from the 50 free and then right back to the 100 freestyle.
You'll see the same swimmers in these types of events. That's the reason why it's weird that it's kind of back to back. Oops. Sorry.
And that we have these swimmers. So in this race, we actually have Sydney Peak, Robin Lee, and Elaine Lamb in this 100 freestyle.
So the 100-meter freestyle, although is a pure sprint, you'll see big, strong swimmers in it. This is where Robin Lee is a little, you know, maybe not at a disadvantage, but she looks a little. Her body type is not really that of a sprinter. She's, I think, 5'5". She's a little bit smaller, but she's extremely strong under the water. She can pull her weight really well, and because she's smaller, she's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit easier for her to move. You'll see Sydney Peak, who is stronger, and she has a slower stroke rate, but she is extremely strong, lots of power on the water, and same with Elaine Lamb.
And Robin's definitely smaller compared to our last 100 freestyle that we had last year, Nicole Cossey. She was very tall, and she definitely used that to her advantage when she was swimming her freestyle events.
Nicole was a very tall, very strong swimmer and was always able to pick up at the end. She was one of those swimmers who is, sorely missed on the team this year. She played a huge part on relays, and she, you know what, you can see her absence on the team. But it looks like Sydney and Elaine are keeping right up with Robin, but Robin will touch first in a 59.58.
And I think it was 1, 2, 3 for SFU.
Nice, those are big points.
Yeah. Definitely a good race right there for the women's team and for their points.
Yeah.
And then next we're actually going to see the 100 freestyle for men, where we have Nico, Adrian, and Colton. So this, I think, is going to be a really good race.
This will be an awesome race, and these three boys train together all the time. Sometimes Adrian or Colton will do different strokes in training, but a lot of the times Liam will put them, all three of them, together doing freestyle because they can push each other and they can train really, really well. Adrian is extremely strong. He has an awesome kick, but Nico and Colton are really strong competitors, and they love to race, and they want to win.
Yeah, and they definitely love to race Adrian because he's such a good swimmer. So when you're swimming against really good swimmers, you're going to become a good swimmer too.
Exactly.
It's all about who you're racing and if you're using that competition to your advantage.
It can go either way. You can use it as a negative thing, or you can use it as a positive thing. You can either get discouraged or you can use it to your advantage. You won't get better training with people who are not better than you.
No.
So you'll see Adrian looks really, like, you can see the difference in Adrian's stroke compared to some of the others. He looks like he's not trying very hard, and that's a good sign of swimming. You want to make it look easy. And you see Nico and Colton are right out there as well. Colton looks like he's currently in second, and Nico might be battling out for third with the UVic swimmer in lane 4.
Yeah, so it's actually pretty close compared to the 200 freestyle.
Yep.
Where Adrian just pulled ahead.
Adrian's out in a 24/7, which is extremely fast, but Colton is right there. Colton definitely has it out for Adrian sometimes. He wants to beat him, and that's okay. It's just going to push Colton to become better. And Nico looks like he may be able to pull in third here. Definitely fourth, but he could be able to. Oh, the UVic swimmer's moving up on Colton. Come on, Colton.
So we really want that second point.
Yeah, so Adrian touches first in a 50.77. Colton does not come second. He comes third in a 52.97. Just over a tenth behind the second place UVic swimmer. And Nico comes fourth in a 53.66. These times are faster than the boys' time yesterday, where most of them were around 54.
Yeah. That's pretty good. And then now, Carly is actually back down there after our interview with her, swimming the 200 backstroke.
We have Brooke Ansel in lane 2, America Koska in lane 3, and Carly in lane 4. So you'll see Brooke and Marin have actually been swimming year-round swimming, which is different from the summer swimming that we do in BC called the BCSSA, for longer than Carly has. And you may actually be able to see their aerobic base prove itself in a race like this. 200 back is another really difficult race. It's hard on your legs. You'll see some swimmers who will swim over the lane ropes and use the ladder to get out because they are too tired to climb out of the pool.
Yeah, and definitely when I was swimming, I always thought that 200 backstroke was really similar to the 1500 just because your legs start to hurt and it's really, you can feel the adrenaline in a 200 backstroke.
You'll see Carly has improved a lot over her 4 years at SFU as she looks a lot smoother. She's not going to, freak out and panic on that first 25. It's really important to be patient in a 200 on the first 50. You can start to pick up a little bit on that second 50, but that first 50 has to be relaxed and you got to settle into your stroke so that this is where Marin's really good. You can see her stroke rate is really slow and her kick is not too hard yet, but she will start to pick up on that third and fourth 50 and that's where she excels. See Brooke Ansel, who has really good underwater dolphin kicks. She's out a little bit slower than usual as well, but you might be able to see her catch up on that third 50.
Carly and Marin are actually really, really close right now. Both flipped at the same time on that turn.
Marin has really, really strong underwater dolphin kicks.
Yeah.
She'll do about 3 or 4 and be at the same place as someone else who's done like 6.
Yeah, and even in a kick set, she'll be right with the boys for a bit.
Yeah, Marin has extremely strong legs, which is, it's important in all strokes, but especially in the backstroke.
Yeah, because then you can use the underwaters to your advantage, and now she's really pushing off all the walls.
Yeah.
Even though Carly's right beside her, she definitely is showing up on the walls.
Carly looks like a stronger swimmer right now than Marin, but you'll watch Marin as she pushes off that wall. She's making up a lot of ground, and she's doing less swimming, so expending less energy than Carly is. Carly is just making it to the flags, whereas Marin's probably going about 8 meters off every wall.
Yeah. So definitely there's 2 ways to come off of a training camp like they did in Hawaii. You can either excel and use that training to your advantage, or you could unfortunately get sick and just get really tired and kind of stuck up with everything with school, because when you're training, there's no school. There's nothing. All you're doing is sleeping, eating, and swimming. And that's the great atmosphere that you have when you go to a training camp. But then when you're back here, there's school, there's a lot of distractions.
So you see, Carly's actually still staying ahead of Marin. She's picking up. She's trying to pick up her kick, pick up the stroke rate a little bit. Marin looks a little bit fatigued today. She normally has a really strong kick, but you can see Brooke out of lane 2 is swimming backstroke the way you expect it to be swum, picking up her kick on that last 25. But it looks like Carly's going to come in here and touch first. In a time at 2:24.96. That's an awesome swim for her. I believe that's pretty close to her best time actually, especially in season. And Marin 2:25.72 and Brooke with a 2:30.54.
Yeah, so you can see there, I think Carly's very happy with her race.
I think Carly's one of those swimmers who does well under pressure. You get people who do not do well, and you get swimmers who do extremely well. And Carly's one of those people who will perform very well under pressure.
Yeah, and even when she's not happy with her race, she won't show it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's that's really important for your teammates. Sometimes if you have a bad race, you can't let it affect how your teammates are swimming as well.
Exactly, because there's always more people to swim, and if you're upset, it might distract them from their own race.
Exactly. So now we have the men's 200-meter backstroke, and the only SFU swimmer in this is Gabriel Lee.
Yeah. So Gabe actually did a phenomenal 200 backstroke at Clan Cup when he went 1:59. And that was just a really, really great swim, and everyone was on cheering for him, and I think it just made the atmosphere of the meet so much better.
Gabe has a very smooth backstroke. It looks like he's not trying very hard. He really rolls his shoulders, making himself as streamlined as possible, reducing the amount of drag he has while he's moving through the water. He's really strong with his kick and his pull. So you'll see him in those underwaters. He didn't win the 100-meter backstroke, but he will most likely win this 200-meter back as he has a little bit more power throughout longer races.
Yeah, and you can definitely see his walls really, really good, just pushing off with powerful kicks, just going as far as he can.
So you watch Gabe turning first on that 75-meter wall. You'll see he streamlines a little bit longer than his competitor, although lane 4 also has some pretty good dolphin kicks. I think that's the boy he was racing on the relay who was right there with him.
Yeah, and he's definitely staying in the race. So in a race like this where you're close, you really want to make sure you're executing your plan perfectly. So right here, we're on the third 50. This is when you want to start making your move. This is when you want to break away from the pack and just start to see what you're made out of. So right now you can see lane 4 is making a move and Gabe is making a move as well. So sometimes when you make a move at the same time, you just want to make sure you're doing it better than your competitor.
So there's still 50 meters to go, and sometimes people do make that move on the third for 50 like you're supposed to, and you either carry momentum or you've expended too much energy. So you can see Gabe is really starting to pick it up now, and this is where dual meets get exciting. This is where you want your teammate to win in a really close race like this, and it may not necessarily be about how fast you're swimming right now. You just want to compete. Yeah. This is where you really want to practice competing because, when we go down to the States, we're swimming in yards, and we don't know what those times even mean. So it looks like the UVic swimmer will touch first in this, but it'll be an extremely close race. 2:03.04 for the UVic swimmer and 2:03.53 for Gabe, and that's again for an in-season time, only 4 seconds out of what he swam at Clan Cup. That's very fast.
Yeah, and here you can still see really good sportsmanship. Like even if you're not doing well, you still want to tell the other teammate that they did a good job, and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. Because if there's no one there to race, you're likely not to swim as fast because you're gonna, you'll rise to the occasion. And swimming 4 seconds over your best time is a really good race.
Exactly. So next we have the 200-meter breaststroke, and we actually have 3 swimmers in this race: Ali Gracken, Megan Franks, and Isabella Koch.
Megan Franks and Isabella Koch were both in the 100-meter breaststroke. So you'll see they might have a little bit of fatigue. Breaststroke can be pretty tough on your legs, but this is also where you'll see Megan excel. She has a longer, stronger kick and like a slower stroke rate that she can use to her advantage over longer distances because she's not using as much energy.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Megan is a sophomore now, so she's been here for 2 years, and she actually came in being really, really good at the 50-meter breaststroke, but now she's definitely gotten better at the 200-meter breaststroke and even the 100-meter breaststroke. So I think training with Sib has definitely improved her technique and her endurance in breaststroke events.
Kara Wilson from UVic in lane 4 is out extremely fast, but again, this is a 200-meter race. It's anyone's game right up until that 150 mark.
Yeah, and definitely in breaststroke, you can go up fast, but then you're going to lose your technique and then just really lose some momentum, and then people will catch up to you. So it really just depends how you're swimming, what's your endurance like right now, and just you really want to make sure you're executing your plan correctly.
Strokes like breaststroke and butterfly are extremely important to have your technique always be on point. If you lose your technique, no matter how much harder you try, you're probably not going to go a whole lot faster. So Megan's keeping Kara in her sights, and she can possibly make a move on that third 50. So they're coming to the 100-meter mark, and this is where you probably want to start to pick up and mentally be ready to swim fast on that third 50.
Yeah, in any 200, the third 50 is the most critical. That's when you really make or break a race.
So you see Megan's stroke rate is picking up, and she's making a move on Kara from UVic. Even Isabella out of lane 5 is also starting to pick up and make a move, and so is Ali Gracken. These girls are swimming this race, like they're executing it very well. It looks like so Megan, who was behind at the 100, is now level and even pulling away.
Yeah, you can see that they're very close, but Megan is definitely bringing in her plan right now.
You see Megan's extremely strong leg. She's squeezing her legs together, finishing her kick, so she can maximize how much power she's getting on each stroke. So Megan touches first up that 150, as you can see. That third 50 was critical, and that's where you either make or break a race. That's where your fatigue sets in and you're extremely tired. Even Isabella Koch may be able to catch this UVic swimmer.
Yeah, especially when she went out so fast, you really want to make sure if you're going out fast, you can hold it, because that's what's going to make your race.
So if you are able, it's important to know who you are as a swimmer as well. If you're one of those swimmers who you're not going to fade away in a race, it's important to go all out. But if you're one of those swimmers who might fade, you want to be able to make sure that you have enough energy at the end of the race to be able to pick up.
Yeah, definitely.
Megan will touch first, and this will be a really good in-season race for her. So touching.
Perfect.
Looks like that was about a 2:42.
So sometimes we have light touches, so that means that you touch the wall too lightly, so the touchpad does not get your time in.
So Megan clearly won that race, but her time on the board is incorrect, so they will go for what the timers got on their watches of this. So the next event is the men's 200-meter breaststroke, and we have Keenan Elliott and James Cormier in this race.
Yep, so Keenan Elliott actually swam a really, really great 200 breaststroke at Clan Cup, just missing the Olympic trials cut, and he's been trying for that time for a very, very long time. He's wanted to go to the Olympic trials for as long as I've known him.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit devastating, but I'm sure he just got right back up, trained very, very hard in Hawaii, and is ready to train even harder right now.
So it's heartbreaking when you miss a time standard like that by that little. I think it was 0.05 or something.
Yeah, it was so close.
It was a literal fingernail.
Yeah.
So that can be heartbreaking, but on the flip side, then you know that you can do that time is doable. It's in reach. It's the matter of fixing a turn or fixing your start. And in a 200, that's such little time. Like he most likely will not be swimming that fast here, but at his peak meet in Portland, I have no doubt that he will get that time standard.
And sometimes when that happens, you start breaking down mentally, and that's when you don't want to do that. You want to get right back up, go right back into training, and really try your best for the next cycle. And that's what Keenan did. He definitely trained hard right after that devastating race.
Swimming is a very introverted sport. There's a lot of pressure on you. It's not like team sports where there's kind of other places where you can lay out the blame. You can blame the ref or like your other teammates. Your individual performance may not actually wreck something. Whereas with swimming, there is no one to blame but yourself, and and that can be super hard. And that's what causes a lot of swimmers to stop swimming. It's just too much pressure. It's too it can really hurt people's hearts.
Yeah.
And but then you get all these people are extremely mentally tough. You'll see swimmers who don't go best times for a very long time, and they keep at it, and they have these breakthroughs, and that's the most rewarding feeling.
Yeah, swimming is definitely all mental. I'd say 70% mental, 30% training.
Fitness. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you'll get people who train really, really fast. They could, they train so fast that they could be on the national team, but, when they break down when it comes to races, so you'll get these competitors who you can beat them even though they train faster than you. You see, also Keenan is executing the plan just like we were talking about earlier. He picked up on that third 50, caught the UVic swimmer. He has a little bit of room here to go, but he may be able to do it if he's able to pick up yet again. But it looks like, who do we have in lane 4? Is also picking up his stroke ratings. He is Aiden Thurkel. Is pulling away as well. So even though Aiden didn't pick up as much on that third 50, he didn't let Keenan catch up enough to be able to pass him. So that was a good race and a good strategy by Aiden Thurkel. He's really picking up his stroke rate, but you can see Keenan is as well. Keenan is a very technical breaststroker. He has a really strong kick. Same with James. James has a little bit of a dolphin motion at the end of his kick, which just helps him push forward a little bit. So Keenan touches in a second at a 2:24.85 and a 2:29.03 for James Cormier.
Yeah, so you can see that Keenan's a little bit tired there, definitely after his race.
He was a little bit tired.
Yeah, and then trying to catch his breath there.
Yeah, so it's important in these meets that if you're not happy with your own swim, if you have another event to go or you're on a relay, you let it go, you put it behind you, and you get prepared for your next race.
Definitely. You just want to take 5 seconds to yourself. Once you're out of the pool from your swim, it's done. You want to think about it after what you did wrong, but not let it affect the rest of your races, because it might affect your teammates and the whole team, everyone. So you just want to make sure you leave it in the pool.
In the meeting before the meet started, Liam told the swimmers that make sure you don't get distracted going into this meet. Don't let the crowd distract you or your races yesterday. plan and prepare for your first race, your first competition, and you need to start each race with a clear objective. And I think that was really that was good advice from head coach Liam Dunlop.
Yeah, so right now we have the women's 400-meter freestyle, and we have Karen and Megan in this one. And Karen, this is going to be a tough day for her. She was in the 800 freestyle and the 200 fly, and now she's in the 400 freestyle. So I think it's really going to be a challenge to see her stay with the pack and just work on her fitness right now.
So we have only 2 SFU swimmers in this race and 4 UVic swimmers. So this is where it's important to be at the top of the pack in a race like this. So Jessie Ogden is out really fast at the 50 and a 30.64 from UVic, and her teammate out of lane 6 is also out really fast. So Caitlin Gervais, also from UVic, has entered with the fastest time. But you can see she's pacing it really well. You might see her pick up towards the end, but you can also see Megan Barrick, our SFU swimmer, who looks like she's not even trying right now, which is kind of the key to freestyle. You don't want to be out too fast.
And it's really funny. Megan and Karen both have really, really different strokes. You can see that Karen's her stroke rate is upbeat, very, very quick, and she's kicking a fair amount. And then you look at Megan's, her stroke rate is pretty laid back, but she's just pulling so much water that she doesn't need to be, she doesn't need to have a faster stroke rate because her stroke rate right now is just so powerful.
And Megan kicks just enough to have her feet stay at the surface of the water, so she's not using her kick to drive her stroke. She only uses her kick to stay in a streamlined body position.
Exactly. So it's funny to see these 2 strokes.
Yeah, Karen definitely swims similar to Tim Winowski, just picking up that stroke rate and keeping her kick going that whole time. Karen may be very tired, but this is a very different race from the 200 fly and even the 800 meter freestyle. She may be able to catch up. She hasn't given these girls too much room yet. Megan Barrick has set herself up really well. I think they're coming into the 200 meter mark here, and this is where people so the third 100 and a 400 is similar to the third 50 and 200. It's where you got to start picking up, maybe not quite to the extent that you would in a 200, but you want to start, driving your kick, maybe making a move, picking up your stroke rate, but you still have to have enough at the end for that last 100 to really, really be able to go.
Yep, so just some heads up, the clan will actually be competing in Seattle on January 30th for another dual meet against the Red Hawks. And then also February 20th to the 21st is their big peak meet for half of the team in Portland. And then March 9th to 12th is their NCAA Div 2 championships in Indianapolis.
Also on Saturday, January 30th, the women's basketball team has their pink game, which is something that they hold every year, and they do some promos for it. They sell some T-shirts and for breast cancer awareness, and it's an important game, and it's a lot of fun to head out to.
Yeah, so if you're here, please join us at the West Gym for that.
You can see Megan Barrick in lane 5 is starting to pick up. You can see her. She's done this really well. She's a smart swimmer. You'll see swimmers who, they swim all hard, you can't blame them for not trying. And then you see swimmers who are a little bit more calculated, and that's Megan Barrick. She swims very, very smart.
Yeah, she's definitely making a move there on Caitlin. Really hope she can pull through.
She's past lane 1, who was out like a bat out of hell. And hopefully she can hold off lane 6 as well. So they have a 50 left here, and this is you gotta really start going at this point.
Yeah, and you can definitely see teammates on both sides of the pool really encouraging Megan to keep going and to push through because she's really, really close to Caitlin
and
right now.
You can see Karen, who is definitely making her move. Even just passing lane 1 is huge points for SFU. You really wanna come 5th instead of 6th or 3rd instead of 4th and so on. It's really important to get the maximum number of points that you can on that day.
Yep, so right now is the last lap. Megan's, we want to make sure that lane 6 doesn't beat Megan right here. So it's really, really close for her right now.
So Megan looks like she's going to be able to finish. Just really reach for that wall. And she comes second in a 4:31.2. And Karen comes 5th, just behind lane 1 in a 4:34.23.
So Megan actually went 4:31 yesterday at the swim meet in Tacoma. So that's a really good race. When you can see that you're going the same time, it means that's where you're at, and that's your
it's
fitness right
consistent,
there.
Yeah. So it's so you either can take that and move with it. You're either really happy with it, you know what needs to be worked on at that point. But that was a good swim for Megan. The fitness was there, and she swam it really smart.
Yeah.
Megan's also a fantastic trainer as well.
Yeah, and it was definitely a good race for Karen. She definitely pulled through. She didn't give up. She definitely kept going for the entire race after her 800 freestyle and her 200 fly. So definitely she should take a little break right now, go warm down in the dive tank.
Maybe have a bath tonight with candles and stuff, because she's going to be really tired after this weekend.
Yeah.
But Karen also won a 4:31 in her 400 free yesterday. So after a really tough lineup like today, having only a 3-second difference, I mean, that just speaks to her mental toughness and her training capacity right now.
Exactly. She's been training really, really well. Mm-hmm. So now in the pool, we have the men's 400 freestyle. We have Daniel Kilmaster, Tim Winowski, and Graham Campbell.
So all these boys swim with Corey in the distance group, and Tim won the 800 free. So for Tim, for most people think of the 400 free as being a sprint, but Tim, for being a distance race, and Tim, it's a sprint. This is probably the shortest race Tim can do.
Yeah. I don't think Tim would be challenged for anything under the 400
Exactly.
free. He could still do it, but I'm sure he'd most likely be more willing to swim a distance race than a sprint race.
You could make the pool 400 meters long, and that would probably be a dream come true for Tim.
Yeah. Tim definitely likes to do those long races, just like he did his 10K that we mentioned before.
Yeah. So in lane 5, we have Aiden Thurkel out of UVic, who's kind of keeping pace right there. And Aiden just swam the 200 breast with Keenan, so he's going to have a little bit of fatigue too. So the SFU swimmers may be able to, like Daniel and Graham, who will be a little bit more fresh, might be able to make a move on him.
Yeah. It's definitely a good race.
And we have Garrett Melender from UVic in lane 2 as well, who is, right there with them. This will be a good race. So Graham Campbell, who's also been sick, you can see him. He's a little bit behind, but he might be able to pick up at the end there.
Yeah, and he's still wearing his little training suit again.
His bright green Speedo. You can't miss Graham.
Yeah.
So Tim is first at the 150 and a 130.8. That's fast. That's a good time. And with Tim, with some swimmers, you look at that, you're like, oh, maybe don't go out too fast. But with Tim, there's no worry about Tim fading.
And Tim definitely has his own plan going into a race. Every race, he knows what he's going to do, and he definitely does it.
I think Tim just does the same thing no matter what the race is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a plan. It's
what he does.
Yeah. We got Daniel, who is also, he's a pretty calculated swimmer too. He's strong and he's pretty fit, and he might try and make a move on lane 2 or at least lane 4. He's ahead of lane 4 right now, and this is so you're at the halfway mark at the 200. It's where it starts to hurt. It's where you can either back off and you can say, I don't want this race to hurt anymore. It's too hard, or you can pick up, stop being a baby, and and it's hard though. It's a really tough race. The 400 free, especially in a short course pool, is really hard.
Definitely. And actually, Daniel Kilmaster and Tim both swam with Corey out of SFA, our sister club, or our daughter club, I guess.
It's a relative.
Yeah. So they both came out of there, and next year, Tim's brother, Andrew, is actually going to join the varsity swim team.
So the Winowski family actually has 3 boys who are all fabulous distance swimmers, and I don't know what their parents are doing, but they're doing something right. And because they're all, I think even the youngest is qualified for Olympic trials, and he's like 15, and they're all great. That's a big sibling rivalry right there too. Coach Corey B actually coached former Olympian and world champion bronze medalist, I think, Brittany Reimer, who held the Canadian record in the 400 free and the 800 free for something like 8 years or something.
Yeah, so Corey definitely knows how to train people for the 400 freestyle.
Yeah.
But not only that, he's the perfect distance coach. He definitely knows how to push you and when to just lay you back a little bit if you're having a rough day. He's definitely a really, really good coach.
Corey is a really understanding and genuine coach. He is a lot of fun to swim with, and he's one of those coaches who he will never get mad. He'll never yell, but he might be disappointed.
Yeah,
and that's the worst.
You never want to disappoint Corey, because you're swimming not only for yourself, but for him too. He makes it part of his life as well as yours.
It's true. You can also ask Corey about his pug, Leroy, who he will talk to you about for minimum half an hour.
Yeah.
So you can see Tim Winowski is almost the full length of the pool ahead of his competitors. He will touch in a 4:06.1. I think Tim's best time is like a 3:59. So being 7 seconds over your best time in a 400 is really good.
Yeah, and actually yesterday he went a 4:12 in his 800 free split.
Nice. And Daniel Kimmaster did move up. He came third with a 4:17.57. That was a really good race for Daniel. He did not catch lane 2, but he caught lane 4, and that was the exact move that he needed to make at that time.
Yeah, and now you can see I think Tim is a little bit tired from his race, but I think he's pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I don't know if anything faces Tim ever.
No.
So we got Lauren Swistak, who likes to beat herself up before the 100 fly, before all of her races. And so the next event is the women's 100-meter butterfly. So this will be a tough double for the girls that did the 200, and now we're doing the 100. So that is Alicia and Lauren.
Yeah, so maybe Lauren will come out with a really, really good time, just like her 200 fly, but we'll have to see.
A 103 for 100 that's what she split in her 200. That's a good time for 100 right now as well.
So if she can do that again, that would be very impressive.
We also have Lauren Fauchon in lane 1, who had a really good race in the 100 back earlier today.
Yeah. So we're going to start this 100 fly right now. Just watch their dives again. I really find it interesting how people dive. Some people look up in their streamline when they're in the air. Just some people go down. It's really interesting to see.
In lane 2 from UVic is Jessie Ogden, who just raced the 400 free. So she might have a little bit of fatigue as well. And they also have Victoria Mock, who raced the 800 free earlier today. She's had a big break, but that 800 free might be settling in that fatigue there. Lauren is out first, but Alicia is right there with her at the 25. The 100 fly, I mean, if you're first at that first 50, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win, but if you're extremely far ahead, you'll probably hold on to that lead.
Definitely. And Alicia is one of the girls that we were talking about before. She trains so well, but sometimes when we get to a meet, just the mental capacity just kind of lowers down a little bit.
It's tough, especially when you've had a couple of bad races or some bad meets in a row, or even over years. It's tough to get over that, but she broke a huge mental barrier this year at Clan Cup, and you can see it. It's in her training. She's relaxed a little bit, and she's she's racing really well. Lauren is pulling away. She pulled away on that third 25, but Alicia's not letting go that easily. We also have Lauren Fauchon, who looks like she's going to come third. This will be a great race for her as well. So Lauren Swistak, 103.53, almost identical to her 200 split.
So that was good. That's impressive.
Yeah, and we have Alicia Khan, who just won a 106.38, and Lauren Fauchon, a 110.87. Those are great races for all three girls.
Yeah, so this race we actually went 1, 2, 3 for the girls.
Again, big points.
Yeah. So I think I'm pretty sure we're in the lead for the women's team for sure.
Yep.
And the men's team, I think we're also in the lead.
I believe so as well. It's really important. The relays are probably the most important part of a meet. Every race is important. Every point is important, but the relays are worth more points. So you really need to step up there. The next event is the men's 100-meter butterfly, where we have two seniors, Justin and Brandon, and also Sava is a sophomore this year, I think.
Yeah.
And he will be in lane 5. He won the 200 fly earlier today.
So this is going to be a really good race for these gentlemen.
It might be a little bit of an emotional race for these seniors.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might see the waterworks. Maybe not after this race, but maybe at the end of the day.
Yeah. Or even, I'm pretty sure after this race, we're going to have a break, and it's going to be the senior recognition. So that was a quick dive for Justin.
Justin has a fantastic dive, really good streamlines, and really good underwaters.
Yeah, and he trains with Coach Liam in the sprint group. So every little detail, whether it's the dive or the streamlines or the turns, needs to be executed so well in a sprint race like this.
So you see, Justin is an extremely powerful butterflyer, and so is Sava, but Sava lasts longer for longer distances in butterfly, and so he might be a little bit behind and not be able to catch up. You see Brandon Nori was also out under 30, which is a good split for him.
So you can see the teammates cheering, actually.
Yeah, lane 4 is not letting go, but it looks like Sava may be able to catch him. If we can go 1-2 in this race, that's really awesome. But lane 4 is not letting go, but Justin is pulling away.
And there it is, Justin with a time of 56.17.
And Sava with a 58.12, and Brandon Nori a 102.63. A 58 for Sava is pretty close to his 200-meter butterfly split, and that's where you can see swimmers like Sava and Lauren Swistak, who their 100 split and a 200 will probably be around their best time because they are longer distance swimmers.
Definitely. So right now you can see them clearing up the pool a little bit because we're going to have a break for the senior recognition.
So the seniors this year are people who have been a part of the team and who I have had the pleasure of swimming with, and so have you.
Yeah.
And really awesome, not just athletes, but genuine people. Like I said, Justin is an awesome person to train with. Brandon Norrie is a close friend of mine who, always has a joke and is fun. And Carly Graliak is probably one of the swimmers who truly loves to swim.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing I think she loves more in the world than swimming. She's always positive. She always has something honest to say and is really kind and and always upbeat, and it's just like a real pleasure to have on deck.
Yeah. And so what the team usually does is that they'll be lining up on the side, as you see they're getting ready over there, and they do kind of like a
house
with their hands. You'll see in a few moments.
Yeah.
They're getting ready now, and then all the seniors will be called one by one to go through the little house train thing, I guess, whatever they do. And then they'll see the coach at the end. Usually they give flowers, and it's just a really nice time to recognize the seniors and all that they've given to the program for their 4 years.
It can be emotional for the seniors, and also you'll see a lot of the juniors get really choked up because they spent the last 3 years, some rookies and some sophomores as well, but especially the juniors, they spent 3 years with their swimmers and looked up to them or raced with them or on their team or would train with them, and they may not be returning next year, on the varsity team at least, and or they may be done school. Justin is one of the few who will be graduating, and so he will be done school. It's heart-wrenching for sure. These people who training alone, you spend 40 hours a week with them, but then you probably have classes with them, you probably hang out with them as well. They are your family. You spend so much time with your team.
Yeah, that's a sad moment. I think there'll be some of the swimmers crying down there.
Yeah, exactly. You'll see a couple waterworks. I'm putting money on Carly for sure.
Yeah.
There's a couple. I don't know if coach will cry, but you never know.
Yeah.
There's some of the girls might cry too. It is really emotional, and it's not just the fact that those people are leaving, but you realize that's going to be you in a couple years too.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that hits the most. I remember in my first year, I didn't know the seniors that well, but they still made enough of an impact that it really touched me that they were leaving.
Yeah, you don't, especially as a rookie, and especially if someone's not in your group, you may not spend a whole lot of time with someone, but they're still your teammates. They're still on the team with you, and you can see that they loved their team and they loved to swim, and whatever their career was, whatever legacy that they'll leave behind, they are going to they've left some kind of mark on at least some of their teammates.
Definitely.
And so we have the seniors over to our left-hand side, Carly, Brandon, Justin in their red shirts. You can only imagine what's going through their head.
Exactly. Probably thinking back about all their memories and everything they've done, all the races, all the early morning practices.
Yeah.
I think it's bittersweet. They'll be leaving behind a great legacy and just really good things.
Yeah, you know what? It's getting up to be in the pool at 5 a.m., so you're up at 4:30, is not enjoyable.
No.
But looking back on it, it's misery loves company, right? And you're with your team and you're with people and you're working hard, and there's nothing more special than that. Okay, so we're about to take a break here, and we're going to hand it over to Richard Hortness, who will be commentating this part of the senior recognition.
The Clan head coach Liam Donnelly carries on this tradition by honoring and paying tribute to our 3 senior student athletes for their dedication to the SFU swim program and proudly representing Canada's NC2A team in competition. Our first senior, Brandon Norrie, who hails from Okotoks, Alberta. He has been a member of the Clan varsity team specializing in butterfly. He has been a great teammate, friend, and competitor for the past 4 years. Brandon is majoring in environmental sciences and hopes to work in the reclamation of Alberta oil sands in the future. He plans on graduating in 2017. Next, from Surrey, BC, is Carly Gerlich. Carly races the backstroke and sprint freestyles. She has been a member of the Clan Varsity for 4 years after joining SFU from LA Matheson High School, a member of our prestigious Dean's List for the academic achievement. Carly is studying linguistics and hopes to become an elementary school teacher. She's planning to enter the professional development program to earn her teaching certificate next fall. Our third senior is Justin Kedron. From New Westminster, BC, Justin is the SFU all-time short course meter record holder in both the 100 and 200 butterfly. He set this season at the Clan Cup International Meet. Justin placed top 15 at the Canadian Trials last year, and this year plans to compete in the Canadian Olympic Trials in both the 100 and 200 meter butterflies, as well as the 50 meter freestyle. Justin joined the varsity team from Douglas College 3 years ago. He's majoring in criminology and hopes to attend law school. On behalf of Simon Fraser University, your teammates, alumni, friends, and supporters, congratulations on all that you have achieved. We truly appreciate all that you have done for us. We'll let some pictures take place. We will get ready here for racing again with 4 races left for our evening. A little bit of team love and a little bit of current swell. Keys to the kingdom.
And we're back after that senior recognition. You can see, I mean, we can't tell from up here, but you can definitely see the emotion in the teammates and in the seniors. It's a tough spot to be in at the end, and especially when you realize, maybe that you did leave an impact on your team or your teammates.
And all 3 of them definitely impacted the team.
They definitely did. I said, Brandon Norrie's a close friend of mine. I've trained with Justin. I've trained with Carly. Carly's the most positive human being to ever walk the earth, and same with Justin and Brandon has been so much fun to train with, and to have as a good friend. And it's and all 3 swimmers, I think, would say that SFU has been a huge part of their lives.
Oh, definitely. I remember Carly, when she first started, she wasn't the best swimmer, and she didn't swim that competitively before, and she just really, really wanted to get on the team. So she talked to coach, and she really wanted to be a part of what this program is all about.
Yeah.
So.
I remember in I think my second year, we implemented something that we called the B team. And they would only swim 3 times a week. And for all you non-swimmers out there, that is essentially nothing. You will not improve like that. And she would say, so they'd swim 3 afternoons a week, and they'd get the swag, and maybe they would come on some trips with us. And she talked to Liam. She talked to the coach at the time, Demetrius. She said, "I want to train. I want to get better. I want to be on the A team. Like I don't want to come here just to participate. She's like, I want to be a good swimmer."
Yeah.
And she worked her butt off for 4 years, and look where she is. She won the 100 back. She won the 200 back. She is a good contender to be the backstroker on the relay. And she's really improved, and I think she knows that, and I think that's probably part of the reason why she's so emotional.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great scene to see down there.
Yeah, the next event we have here is the women's 200 IM, and we have Allie Gracken in lane 1, Sydney Peak in lane 3, and Brooke Ansell in lane 5. And for UVic, we have Juliana Bartamucci, Sarah Galbraith, and Tara, but her name is cut off in the program, so I can't fully read it. But UVic swimmer in lane 6 who has been having a very good meet as well.
Yeah, so this is the 200 IM, which means that you do a 50 of each stroke. So fly, back, breast, and free. 2 lengths of each stroke. And usually when you're in a 200 IM or any IM race, you should be pretty good at breaststroke. I find that IMers who are fairly good, they're also good at breaststroke.
It's true. Usually that's when people get fatigued. Like in any 200, we said the third 50 is key. The third 50 is critical. And that third 50, breaststroke is one of those strokes where it's super technical and you're either good at it or you're not. And unless you are so far ahead that no one can catch you, you'll see the breaststrokers really make a move and they are ready to go, and then they're able to pull away on the freestyle as well, because some people have spent so much energy on being bad at breaststroke.
Exactly.
And then they have nothing left for the freestyle, even if it's their best event. So you'll see Sydney Peak is a very good breaststroker, and so is Ali Gracken. And Brooke's best stroke is backstroke, so you can see her pulling away and starting to catch up to Sarah Galbraith, actually. But you might see her fade a little bit on this breaststroke, and this is where it starts to hurt, and this is where the breaststrokers are really going to shine. So we see Sarah Galbraith, who is a breaststroker and also a freestyler, I believe. She's pulling away on that breaststroke, but Sydney Peak is also making a move and passing teammate Brooke Ansell, and is pulling away from the other two UVic swimmers.
So we only have a few more events to this meet, including the men's Trinidad IM and then 2 more relays, and then we're going to go to the Varsity Fun relays.
This relay is extremely fun. You have people who are not swimmers and are representing their own team battle it out in a 4x50 freestyle relay. Last year the women's wrestling team won, which was, I was shocked at how good some of these swimmers were.
Yep. So today we're going to be seeing men's and women's track, women's cross country, softball, women's basketball, and the volleyball. So we have 6 teams that are going to compete in a swimming event. So most of them don't know what swimming's all about, and then they're going to find out tonight.
Yeah, they're going to find out now. So Sarah Galbraith will touch first in this with a time of 2:24.82. Sydney Peak will come second in 2:27.03. And then it looks like Brooke Ansell is going to come third. That's a good swim for her, 2:31. And Ali Gracken will be coming 6th in 2:37.3. So good swims across the board for those ladies.
And then next we're going to see the men's 200 IM. And for SFU we have Keenan, Adrian, and James competing. And actually, Adrian isn't only good at the 200 and 100 freestyle, he's actually also good at the 200 IM. So last year at NCAAs he also placed in the 200 IM.
So it's really important at NCAAs. If you come in the top 8, so you make a final and then you place in that final, which you would if you make it, top 8, you get a status called All-American. And it's a really big honor. The SFU will give you a ring, the NCAA gives you a big trophy, and it's an extremely fast meet, and you should be really proud of yourself if you receive that honor. And Adrian was an All-American in 200 free and 200 IM. And maybe 100 free, I can't remember.
I think you got disqualified.
Oh, right. Yeah, there was a little bit of debacle last year with that, but that,
So
we'll
let
that go.
Yeah. He's still placed, but.
Yeah, exactly.
So right here you see already Adrian's kind of pulling away.
Adrian is also I don't know what Adrian is bad at. He's a very strong butterflyer as well. He raced the 100 butterfly yesterday. He actually swam 3 100s back-to-back yesterday. So 3 races with maybe a 1-minute break between each race. It just showed his mental toughness and his stamina right now. So you can see Keenan Elliott and James Cormier, who are also very strong butterflyers, are just a little bit behind the pack. Just a little bit behind the UVic swimmers, who look like they're very strong as well. And we have Ryan Howe, who's in lane 4, who's been having a really strong meet and giving all of our swimmers a run for their money, even winning some of the events I think they've been in. So I believe he was also in the breaststroke. So if he's pulling away on the backstroke, you might see him pull away even more on the breaststroke. So this is where Adrian's going to have to show his fitness and, on the freestyle really make up some ground.
Yeah, and right there, if you saw, Adrian actually did something called a suicide turn. So a suicide turn is different than any other turn because what you're doing is that you're touching on your back with your hand, and then you're doing kind of a backflip, basically.
It's tough. It's a tough turn. It's the fastest turn, but it makes you really out of breath, and so you might need to sacrifice your underwater pull a little bit. But if you're like Adrian, hopefully you have the stamina to make up for that. You have James, who's also catching up a little bit. He is a breaststroker. Adrian did not get too far behind from Ryan Howe on this. Let's see if we can catch him on the freestyle.
Yeah, this is going to be definitely critical.
Yeah,
to get points for the men's team.
Adrian is extremely tough, and he usually won't let people go on. And won't, he might be able to make a move on this. You'll see on his turn, which is coming up here, he's going to try and use his dolphin kicks to the best of his ability to make up some ground, like he just did on Ryan Howe. He pulls up almost level with him and is starting to catch him. He might pull away.
Wow, this is definitely a great race right here.
This is a good race.
So it's raced extremely well for both swimmers. I think Adrian will touch first. Well done in a time of 2:04.34.
Wow.
Just like barely 0.2 of a second ahead of competitor Ryan Howe.
And you can really see that he definitely put in the effort for that last 50 meters.
Yeah, and we have James Cormier, who came 4th in a time of 2:10, and Keenan Elliott, who came 5th in a 2:16.
So Adrian looks pretty tired, but I think it was worth the little extra push there.
Yeah, like we said earlier, that first place is worth like way more points than second place even. So coming first over second, that's probably the biggest discrepancy. That's where you really want to go and you really want to win.
So it's interesting. If you don't know, usually in swimming, the fastest swimmers are going to be in lanes 3 and 4, and then it goes out by time.
Exactly. So you'll see the fastest people in the middle of the pool, and they'll pull ahead. That's why you get that diamond shape. Usually, I mean, if you're in an extremely thick competition, you'll have all swimmers even.
Yeah, and then it's just a line of fast swimming.
So the next event we have up here is the women's 200-meter freestyle relay. This is a fun relay. It's fast. Each swimmer swims 2 lengths of the pool freestyle, and it looks like first, I think that is
Elaine and Carly for our swimmers. Yeah.
And Elaine is a very strong freestyler, but Carly has, the positivity of having a great meet on her side right now. And she actually flipped turns ahead of Elaine, but Elaine's very strong and is a back-end swimmer for sure.
And I think Carly is definitely really emotional right now. And sometimes emotions can help in swimming because it's so mental.
Exactly. So it looks they're pretty close, they're neck and neck, but it looks like Elaine touched first there at 27.79. That's a good first split, and looks like that's Lauren Swistack in the water.
And Megan Barrick, she in lane 5.
So even though Megan Barrick is a distance swimmer, she's usually able to step up for these races, and she's very strong. She's very powerful.
Yeah, definitely. Like, if you look at the difference right there, Megan's stroke is so much more calm compared to Lauren's stroke. And then next you're going to see Alicia taking off from Lauren, and then Charlene from Megan.
Alicia is in the sprint group with Liam Donnelly, and she is a very strong swimmer, and she's a tough competitor, and she will, having some mental obstacles, she will always step up for a relay. And this is key. If we come first and second in this relay, this is big points. It makes up for any first places lost or that the UVic team may have gotten. And it looks like Alicia is well ahead. We're leading into Robin. And this is the last leg of the race. Oh, and UVic and our B relay touch very close together. And that is Isabella Koch, who it looks like UVic is pulling away a little bit, but she's not letting go that easily. Robin is pulling away. She's a very strong 50 freestyler. Her stroke rate is through the roof, and she will pull away. Don't breathe in the flags. Yeah. And touches on 150.11.
That's a good time.
It is a very fast time. UVic comes second, and SFU comes third.
So now it's the last race of the day for our dual meet. So we have the same race, the 4x50 men's relay. Justin in lane 3 and Graham in lane 5. And as you can see, Justin's getting ready for his last home dual meet.
There's probably a lot going through his head right now. He's probably he's happy, he's sad, even if he decides to swim next year, a lot of swimmers will decide to swim as a post-grad and continue doing club swimming, but you're still not on that varsity team. You're not a part of those relays anymore, and it's a tough spot to be in. And
definitely.
This is his last home relay, but hopefully not his last relay ever.
Yeah. So you can see on this side, the girls' relays are going to cheer on the men's relay. And just...
So Graham has been suffering from a little bit of fatigue, but he is a tough swimmer, and he will always pick up for a relay.
And it's interesting how you see that he has his racing suit on.
Oh yeah, you know what? He got rid of the tiny green speedo.
Yeah.
You know what? And so that means he's ready to go. Graham put on his Graham face, and now he's ready to swim fast.
Yeah.
But you'll see. Okay, so this is why Graham is a distance swimmer. He's breathing every 2, which is usually a no-go for a sprint event, and Justin does not. Justin touches first in a 23.99. A very good swim. I think he was about 23.5 yesterday at UPS, but he's extremely tired, probably very emotional. And you can see the sprinters, they don't breathe as much as some of the distance swimmers. They're able to put their head down, and you got to be disciplined. And that looks like Colton Peterson, who's a very, he doesn't have a lot of roll to his stroke, but he has extremely long arms and go-go gadget arms, and he's a very fast 50 freestyler as well. Is that Sava?
Yeah.
We have Sava Youngman, who won the 200 fly, but also no, I think that's Nico. That is Nico Hernandez.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They all look the same when you're in the water.
Nico's a very good 50 freestyler as well.
And then Gabe's
is taken off, and he will do really fast, quick underwater dolphin kicks, and he's pulling away. And we have our SFU B relay, who may actually make it. We have Mackenzie Hamill, who is a distance swimmer, and you'll see he struggles to get his stroke rate up, but he's doing his best.
Yeah.
And he's really pulling through the water. Look at his kick. But we have Gabe, who's pulling away, a very strong swimmer. He touches first in 135.83. UVic touches second, and SFU's B relay comes third in 140.15. So that is the conclusion.
Yeah, that concludes our meet.
And the men are really happy. Justin looks a little bit emotional. I think they all are. And we will be starting the varsity relays pretty soon.
Yep. So as we were talking about the varsity relays, we'll have 6 different teams from different sports, and they'll be doing a 4x50 freestyle relay. And so last year, Alex was saying that the women's wrestling won. I'm pretty sure the track team came close to.
It was pretty funny actually. Last year, the women's wrestling team won because track was away at a meet, but the previous year, men's track won by a landslide. And we actually saw them earlier this week. The men's track team comes into the pool and trains, and they get ready they take this relay pretty seriously. There's actually a trophy that we have that we give to them, and they get their little team etched on it in the years that they won. It's a big deal. Some of these sports take this relay more seriously than I think the swimmers do.
Yeah, and it's fairly new. I think we've only done it for
2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I think so. So I think more teams are getting more into it.
Yeah, I mean, the first year I remember we had I'm not going to name any names, but we had one relay who, we had a couple swimmers who were, the lifeguards were a little bit on edge.
Yeah.
They were pretty close. They were pretty close to drowning. And I think a lot of people think that swimming is an easy sport. It's, it's you're in the water, you get to relax. And, 2 lengths of the pool, it might look pretty short when we're doing it. When the swimmers are doing it, you watch Adrian swim a 50 free, he does it, or Justin does it in 23 seconds. And it takes other people, almost a minute to do it. And we have the team cheers going on.
Yeah, they're getting ready, and not all of the teams actually have swimsuits, so you'll see them swimming in shorts and a sports bra. So
yeah,
it's just interesting to see.
Yeah, and the soccer team last year competed in their shorts and their soccer socks.
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure the wrestling team
they wore their singlets.
Yeah.
I want to call it a onesie. It's not a onesie.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting to see, and it's
It's
fun.
pretty funny. Yeah, it is. It's lots of fun.
It's a great way to end our last home dual meet.
Yeah, and it takes a little bit to get them organized sometimes as well, because they're not really used to what's going on. And we also have the teams, congratulating each other at the end of the meet, because there is no dual meet when the other team's not there, and you got to thank your competitors for rising to the competition and pushing you to perform your best as well, because you won't perform your best if they're not performing their best. So in the dive tank, we can see some of the other sports getting ready to warm up, and like we said before, we have some people in shorts and not bathing suits.
Yeah, so you can see there that a lot of the swimmers are really happy and grateful that the other team came, because it's still a long way for someone to come for just a 2-hour swim meet.
Exactly.
It's nice to say thank you at the end, and it ends the meet on a good note.
Exactly.
Okay. So, you can actually get the latest news, stats, videos, and more if you visit the athletics.sfu.ca. So, you can also stay connected with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, with the hashtag GoClan.
And a lot of people hashtag Clan Fam and Go SFU Go and all that stuff. You can find SFU Varsity Athletics on Instagram and Twitter, as well as SFU SAC, which is our Student Athletic Council, which will have things like SFU events that the SAC will put on as well.
So you can just see that at the bottom of the screen right there.
And in addition, we have a new promo that SFU athletes have been engaging in called the Consent Matters SFU. And it talks about why consent is important, and both female and male athletes have been participating in this. And you can find the picture that they posted and why consent matters to them as an individual.
Yeah, it's definitely a really good...
and you can watch the video that they've made on YouTube at athletics.sfu.ca/clantv. And it's an awesome video. It's an important topic, and I'm happy that all the athletes have started to back behind it. We're about to get underway with these varsity relays. It looks like the teams are all ready.
Yeah, but we just want to thank our sponsors, Arena, Vitargo, and Team Aquatic Supplies.
So let's, it looks like we have some of the coaches. I think I cut out.
Me too.
Okay. We have some of the coaches giving looks like some of the other teammates, the other varsity athletes, some pointers. I think this looks like women's volleyball in the water right now, and they look strong. They're looking good.
It's pretty exciting to see. I think the varsity swim team is excited to see what these relays are.
Exactly. You'll see UVic. These swimmers are wondering what's happening here as well. And last year, I think Seattle was here during that dual meet, and they loved it. They love watching these relays.
You can actually see an ambulance just in case something happens.
Yeah, it's good that they pull up. You never know. But UVic will probably stick around to watch some of these athletes. And it's always fun. You also see some athletes who used to swim.
Yeah.
And you watch them and they get and they're out of shape or whatever, and they're like, oh, like I forgot how much I loved swimming, and it's a lot of fun to watch, especially on the track team. A lot of them used to swim. And there's nothing more fun than being a swimmer and watching these athletes swim too.
Yeah.
It is a lot of fun.
Definitely. So once again, we have the men's and women's track, women's cross country, women's softball, women's basketball, and women's volleyball team competing in this year's Varsity Challenge. So it's about to go down in the pool. So make sure you stay with us while this happens.
Yeah, the meet is over, but it's not over till the fat lady sings.
Exactly.
We're just waiting for these guys to get prepared, and these, some of these swimmers, it's pretty funny. They I can do 2 lengths of the pool, I don't mind. Then they forget about the relay start that they have to do, and they have to actually dive over their teammate that has just touched the wall, and I think that ends up freaking them out a little bit once they're on top of the block. And it is a lot of fun. We can see some of our teammates getting ready to cheer on their fellow varsity athletes. The track team actually puts on something like this too every once in a while.
They do.
They'll put on a 4x100. I want to say freestyle. That's not what it's called. This thing.
Running.
Yeah, the 4x100 sprint. And the men's football team always crushes it. They always do a good job. And I think our swim team is probably the worst.
Yeah.
I think we're probably maybe the slowest.
Last year, I think we did pretty well.
Well, we put only men on it, too.
That's true. That's true. We did only have a men's running race.
Yeah, so, you know what? We're not. I think we had a strength coach come with us to Hawaii this year, and he was a football trainer. And, I think he was impressed with how, usually we get blamed for being fish out of water when we're doing dry land. We look pretty awkward. We don't look very smooth. And I think he was pretty impressed with us. But, still, when it comes to being on land, the other teams have us beat on that.
Yeah. So you can see all the teams pretty much getting ready to start their races. A lot of them are in sports bras and shorts, just because they're not used to being in the water.
Yeah, it's they don't like wearing one pieces for
whatever it's interesting.
Reason. Yeah, it's oh no, UVic has left. I guess they have to go catch a ferry.
Yeah,
that's probably part of the reason why they're leaving. But it is hilarious. Maybe they'll watch this later. Oh yeah, but these girls are giving each other technical pointers. It looks like someone has a racing suit on.
Oh yeah, lane 2.
Yeah,
that is.
I can't tell if it's a singlet or if it's a racing suit. That must be women's wrestling. Wait, no. You know what? I honestly.
That's softball, I believe.
Oh yeah, maybe they borrowed. Sometimes they get some friends.
Women's softball, and a few of them used to be swimmers, like you mentioned. So
they remove across. There's women's track getting ready as well.
Yeah. So lane 6 we have womenens track.
Yeah.
And then
you have the officials also kind of instructing the athletes on when they're supposed to dive, how they're supposed to dive.
And actually, I think that lane 6 is women's cross country.
Yeah.
Lane 5 is women's track.
Okay.
And then you can see in lane 4 is
that's volleyball. It's women's
volleyball. Lane 3 is women's basketball. Lane 2 is softball, and then finally in lane 1, we have the men's track team. And they look pretty much ready to race.
Like I said earlier, the men's track team has racing suits on, caps and goggles. They've
been training all week for this, so I think they're pretty much ready. All caps on. It looks funny to see non-swimmers in caps, goggles, and racing suits.
They definitely. I don't know. I'm speechless.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really, really good race.
Yeah,
definitely the SFU swim team is definitely gonna cheer on the Klansmen and women.
Yeah, the Klansmen and women here. I think it was 2 years ago. The men's track team gave the SFU women's swimming relay team. I mean, I think we were probably like a 147. They were about 205.
Yeah,
it was reasonable. It was not that slow.
Yeah.
But it's super impressive to watch these athletes come out and try their best to participate in something and be competitive in all aspects.
So you can see them being announced. That's the women's basketball.
They don't know what's going on.
No.
Nope.
And then women's back to women's basketball. There's Ellen Kett, Megan Daly. Oh, and then there's softball right there.
Yeah. It looks. You know what? They look more prepared than previous years.
They do.
I think they got men's track who has weird jammers and weird speedos. Nice. I like it.
So it's gonna be a good time, I think, and it's the most fun to see diving and sometimes flip turns, because usually non-swimmers don't know how to do flip turns, and then they try, and it's just it's interesting.
It is interesting. It ends up it's something. It's not a flip turn, but
it is something.
Yeah.
So
we're about to get underway here.
Yeah. So it's just about to start.
First, second whistle, you get on the blocks. Yep. There you go. Okay. Let's see. Let's have a look at some of these dives.
Yeah. So
lane 1 looks like they know what they're doing.
Definitely, I think so.
Lane 2, Stephanie Corona, I believe, a softball senior.
Most of them jumped in.
Okay.
On
Nice.
that one.
Lane 6, lane 5, and lane 1 look very. And you know what? Lane 4 doesn't look too bad either. Look at these people
it's
go.
Not bad.
Flip
It's pretty
flip
good.
Nice.
Yeah. See, if you look at that, they're pretty much.
You know what? Lane 6 just did like one dolphin kick. That was super impressive.
Yeah. So that's Britt Evans from women's cross country.
Nice. Look at her go. And look at lane 1. He's gonna be out in almost under a 30.
Wow.
Well,
that was
was
very quick.
That was fast. Who didn't plunge? Come on.
Oh no.
Where's the lane 1 timers? That's Miko. And this Cam Preseviat for men's track, he has a very strong kick. You can see him making the maximum number of splashes he possibly can. It's crucial that he soaks the people next to him.
It's really good. You know why he's such a good kicker? Because he's on the track team.
Exactly.
It makes sense.
Yeah, he's bending his legs a little bit too much. It's not quite like running. Oh, there he goes. He fixed it a little bit.
And right there. Wow. Lane 1.
Lane 5, second swimmer is doing great. She pulled away, and there they go. And
then lane 6.
So we got lanes 2 and lane 3 who are currently battling out. That's women's basketball and women's softball.
Yeah.
Lane 3, she looks strong. She looks smooth.
It's really good.
And so it looks like men's track is actually about to lap these girls.
Yeah.
I think they're coming into their final leg. So we got women. Oh yeah, there they go. You know what? Lane 5 just is pulling away. Look at her go. Oh, really he's doing flies.
Wow, that is impressive.
Look at him. Oh no.
Is he gonna win? Is he gonna
lap this girl?
Oh, I think so.
Ellen's freestyle, Ellen Kett from the women's basketball team, very smooth.
And it's very technical.
It is.
It's very well done.
However, the man from the track team is pulling away, very strong butterfly.
And what men's track team?
Nice. That's super fast. And it looks like lane 5, I believe that's women's track, is going to be coming second here.
Yeah, so that's Kai right there finishing up in lane 5 for women's track right there at a time of 2:23.
Tamara Nip from the women's volleyball team, also a former swimmer, is very smooth in the water. She's not going to breathe within the flags, just like you're supposed to. Touches nice. We have lane 6 who's going to come in as well. She does breathe within the flags. It's usually, she's taught to do 1, 2, 3 breathe. That's all right. She touched in a 240.9.
And also her
Lane 2 might catch lane 3. Look at her go. She's all power. Very little technique, but all power. And all heart.
Yeah, exactly, and it's all strong.
They left it all in the pool today.
They did. We're very impressed with all our varsity teams here.
No one over 3 minutes.
Very good.
That is super impressive.
Actually, there was close ones, 2:58, but everyone was under 3 minutes.
That is a standard for swimming.
Exactly.
That's like a benchmark, and then underneath that, that's where that's when you start to get pretty good.
Yeah.
The 205.6, I'm very impressed with that. I think they may have not beaten their previous record, but they were really close.
No, they were, and it's really good. I think they're all pretty tired.
Yep.
Getting a little taste of what swimming is all about, but I think they enjoy themselves.
And you know what? Good news. No lifeguard jumped in. The paramedics were not needed.
Nope.
So all in all, this was a successful meet for the varsity athletes and for our swimmers as well.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more fun than watching our coaches and our teammates. We have our chiropractor who has his head in his hands. He looked like he was a little bit nervous, but everyone is proud. We love when our own teammates come to watch our races and when they partake in our own sport.
Exactly,
It's
and
fun.
I think our varsity team was definitely ready to jump in if needed to. So right there you can see everyone is high-fiving each other, really happy with
Coach
the
Liam
racing.
Donnelly has the trophy. He will be handing it to men's track. They look pretty happy. Look, that is a legit trophy. They're going to get their names carved in there again. Excuse me. And, men's track wins for the second time. Women's wrestling, I don't even think they had a team this year, did they?
I don't think so, no.
You know what? Yes, that's too bad. Because they did really well last year, too. They were super impressive. But I'm also impressed with the track teams and women's volleyball. And you know what? All of them. Good job. No one drowned.
Yeah. So that's the big trophy, actually. And every year they put the winning team on the plaque on the side of the trophy. So it's
and then it gets displayed kind of in the second floor where we have some historical things in there for the swim team as well.
It's nice.
But they're about to be presented with the I have no idea what that thing's called. It's a big cup. Nice. Look, and they have their Speedos on.
They're very happy.
They were ready. Oh, they're tossing out the number ones.
Yeah.
Nice. You are number 1. Nice. They're extremely happy and they're having a lot of fun, and they trained for this, and it paid off.
Yeah.
And coach will take away the trophy for now to make sure that they get their names engraved, and that will be displayed, so they will be there forever.
So we're just finishing up here, wrapping up the swim meet. I think it was a pretty good meet for everyone.
I agree. I believe we won that meet. There was some awesome performances. You could see the fatigue and the illness in some of the swimmers, but they stepped up to the plate, and that's a big mental hurdle that you have to overcome sometimes.
Yeah, so definitely if you want to recap, there'll be a lot of scores and everything online that you can catch us on sfu.ca athletics.
Yeah, full results will be online. You can look at people's splits if that's what you're into. The varsity team has some upcoming meets in 2 weeks' time. They'll be at Seattle on January 30th. That's a big meet. That's a big border rivalry for us.
Yeah.
We don't like losing to Seattle. They don't like losing to us. And February 20th to 21st, the team is heading down to Portland for their final last chance meet. Hopefully my colleague Claudia will be ready to compete down there.
Exactly.
Healthy and ready to go. And the final meet that they will be celebrating this season, it is a celebration. You got to celebrate right. The only way. At the NCAA Div 2 championships, and hopefully we bring the biggest team yet this year and we get some more qualifiers there.
Yep, so on behalf of our executive producer, Gabriel Lynn, supervising director, Steve Frost, and our entire crew here at SFU Pool, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.